If you've ever turned off the TV after losing your fantasy football matchup to 13, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And that's what happened. A.J. Brown made one of his catches last night. That was enough to end it. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. And that's what I did. Anyway, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button because we are back for another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Tuesday, December 9th edition. Start of the Fed meeting here today. We get the decision tomorrow. We do have some news to go over. And of course, it is a T3 Tuesday. So we're going to be bringing you a T3 guest. We've got Anne-Marie after Pre-Market Playbook here today. So should be a fun day. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. It's cold outside, but the market might be heating up. We'll see how it goes. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for December 9th, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. I hope that you all had a wonderful Monday evening. And if you had fantasy matchups that were still on the line, hopefully you won those. I had two. The one against 13, I ended up losing. But the other one where I was facing Saquon Barkley, I ended up winning, thankfully, because he didn't score 30. So that was pretty good. Brian, good morning. You are first here today. Good morning. Early bird gets the worm, Bri. Saquon Barkley TD. Glad it worked for you because it wasn't enough to knock me off. So we'll take that. Sounds like we're all winners here today. And I'll take that. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. Ezra, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. It's good to see you again. James, welcome back. Number 11 this morning. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Indeed, happy Tuesday. Rolling through the week here. Graf, good morning. Good to see you again. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Spy back to 675 before the Fed rate cut. Ooh, you're calling for an 8-point move down before tomorrow? We'll see if we get that. Not sure I see that. Jay Harris, good morning. Welcome back. EKS, good of you to join us again. As always, EKS taking a look at Trox here. Got a letter of support up to $600 million to develop rare earth facility in Australia. Okay, so another player there in the rare earth theme that we have traded before. Good stuff, EKS. Tenzin, good morning. Welcome back. Tenzin, what's the Apple plan here today? I got to know what the Apple plan is. Who else we got? Wiss, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard and Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. Richard Judge, good to see you as always, brother. Rooster, good morning. Thanks for checking in with us. Hopefully Butterfly Chick is doing all right. Johnny, good morning. Welcome back. Uncle Dracula checking in. I absolutely love it. Good morning. Work, or it's not morning there, right? Because you can't be out in the day. Transylvania's in Europe. Maybe it's still dark. No, maybe it's in the middle. I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We're happy to have you here. Work Life, good morning. Welcome back. Navrik, good morning. Welcome back. Zabeth, good morning. Missed the opener. The opener was that 13 beat me, and I turned off the TV and went to bed early. That's it. It wasn't very exciting. Black Mamba, good morning. Could you ask Anne-Marie to share how she gets the seasonality line on her charts? Yes, she's talked about this before. She's actually working with a developer to have that custom Think script added. I have asked her for it, but she said that there are a couple of more kinks that need to be worked out in order to distribute that, last I checked. Let me add another note here. Ask AM about seasonality line. We'll see if there's an update there for you today. If my goldfish brain forgets, just remind me, and I'd be happy to ask that. Peter, good morning. Not so cold outside today. Peter, it actually warmed up a little bit here too. Now, that's all relative because we're looking at 26-degree temperatures, but that is in fact warmer than the 9 degrees that it was previously. So I suppose we'll take that. Still going to get 3.5 miles done outside here today. Breathing that cold air just energizes me. Big Bees, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Ryan, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Laura in Florida, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Robot to Trade in C Boogie, good morning. Matthew, good morning. Itty, good morning. Live to Trade, good morning. Jane, it's great to see you as always. America, good morning. Transylvania, it's 3 p.m. Okay, so you're inside. Avoiding the sun. Good stuff. Lambo Rolls. Good to see you, boss. Welcome back. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. And Dirkus, it's great to see you as always as well. All right, folks, let's get started with our stock market today. All right, futures hovering around flattish here today. S&P futures are actually up 0.05%, but again, basically near flat. Dow futures up 0.02%, same deal, near flat, and the NASDAQ down 0.01%. So all three major indices dancing around the even line there at unchanged ahead of the open here today. Now, next, let's go ahead and take a look at some cues from last session. Information technology stocks bucked the overall market trend to close higher on Monday, while communication services, materials, and consumer discretionary shares recorded the biggest losses. The Federal Open Market Committee's two-day meeting begins today, with investors eyeing a rate cut decision tomorrow. We are anticipating that they are going to cut rates. The FOMC, or the CME watch tool, I beg your pardon, is showing us a rate cut being priced in, and we suspect that the market has that priced in. The only surprise here is if we don't get a cut, likely to see a sell-off. We'll see if we get a sell the news on a cut. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.15%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.58%. We do have several stocks in focus for you here today. First one is going to be Ares Management. That's ticker ARES, and it jumped 8.71% following the announcement of its inclusion into the S&P 500 index effective December 11th. The next stock on our list is NVIDIA. That rose 1.57%. Intel advanced 0.62%, and Advanced Micro Devices gained 1.11% after President Trump confirmed on social media that NVIDIA will be allowed to ship its H200 chips to approved customers in China and other countries. We're going to dive into this in a little bit more detail here in a sec. The key takeaway here is that these are not the Blackwell chips, so these are not the very high-end chips. It's a step beneath that. The next stock on our list here is going to be Toll Brothers. That's ticker TOL. That dropped 3.49% after reporting mixed financial results for the fourth quarter of fiscal 2025. The next stock on our list is going to be Tesla. Tesla declined by 0.94% after Morgan Stanley downgraded it to equal weight, citing a high valuation. The last stock on our list has been the subject of a back and forth for what feels like a few weeks now. Paramount Skydance, or ticker PSKY. That was up 1.72% after it launched an all-cash tender offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, ticker WBD, for $30 per share, valuing the company at $108.4 billion. This bid outbids Netflix's recent offer. And again, we'll dive into that a little bit more as well. Before we do that, however, we are going to take a look at the SPY chart. We were able to get the chart feed fixed. By the way, for anyone that is keeping tabs or worried about that, the chart issues that we saw yesterday actually originated with our data provider, and it wasn't our system that was crashing out, to use the term the kids use nowadays. It was actually our data provider. That also was responsible for the missing historical candles. The good news here is that not only did we get it resolved, but the team also has a backup plan to not have to rely on this going forward. So hopefully these things will be a thing of the past. But it's working here today, and we're ready to rip here today. SPY is doing the sideways motion here. So again, just kind of setting the stage here. I know we've kind of looked at some of the inside charts, the inside day charts recently, as opposed to the daily chart on the SPY. But again, nice clean bounce off the 100-day that recaptured the 50, the 20, the two levels that we were previously trading sideways in, and the trend line that represents a downtrend from the end of October. Now we are trading sideways here. We continue to do that. The next question for me is, well, what is the Federal Reserve meeting going to do? Are we going to maybe back test this trend line? And actually, now that I'm looking at it here, I should probably extend that out here. Are we going to back test that trend line? Are we going to find support at the 20 or the 50-day? Or are we going to take the next leg up here? I know there's been a lot of talk with both the options market and just traders in general looking for 7,000 on the S&P 500. That would be 700 about here on the SPY. And we are currently looking at an all-time high here of 689.70. So we're at 684. We're within a stone's throw of the all-time high here. The market has, even on low volume as it waits for the Fed here, really kind of drifted sideways to slightly higher. So we'll see if we end up getting a move higher here today. Now, the interesting part, if we do go back and look at the inside here, we had talked about this being a key level yesterday morning. If it did trade up, SPY was strong in the pre-market, but right out of the open, this thing basically sold down. We had one bounce attempt there. That bounce attempt was an effort to try and get us to close back above the 684 level on SPY that we've been talking about quite a bit. We were unsuccessful in doing that. Today here, looks like we might battle that again. So can we recapture and close above 684, or do we test more of these downside levels? That is what we will have to wait and see. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here based on the Comerica Economic Weekly. The bank's outlook focuses on a cooling economy and an imminent shift in monetary policy, though the report does not explicitly predict stock market valuations. Central to their economic forecast is the expectation of a rate cut, as Comerica Economics forecasts the Federal Open Market Committee to cut the federal funds target to a quarter of a percentage point at the year's final meeting. A lot of speculation that this might be the last cut that Jay Powell is the chairman for. We'll see if that plays out as well. However, long-term guidance may remain ambiguous, with the report noting that the Fed will likely be tight-lipped about the outlook for rates in 2026, given conflicting views among FOMC members. And this is kind of what we've been talking about the last several days, maybe even 2 weeks here. Does certainly seem, based on the CME Watch tool and the way the market is trading, that the cut is priced in here. Really, the conversation or the speculation is going to move to, what do we do for future cuts? Are we going to see cuts in the beginning half of 2026? Or are we going to have to wait? Remember, Powell's tenure ends in May. So then whatever Fed chair is going to be appointed is not going to take over until after Powell leaves. There's speculation that we actually might not see a cut in 2026 until that takes place. But all of that still up in the air here. The language on the future rate cut cycle, or where they see rate cuts, that is going to be the most important thing, I believe, out of this meeting. They also anticipate the Fed will signal measures to support short-term funding markets following recent signs of tight liquidity. The economic backdrop appears increasingly fragile. Comerica observes that recent data, quote, generally point to a weaker job market, end quote, highlighting a decline in private payrolls and rising job cuts. Furthermore, the manufacturing sector contracted for a ninth consecutive month in November. Despite this slowing activity, inflation pressure persists as food and energy costs rose notably in September. All right. Now, I did want to talk a little bit. I guess we could actually roll through the charts here real quick. The big story that's kind of been going back and forth, we touched on it a little bit yesterday. I don't know if any of you folks are trading it. I would love to hear if you are. But the big news that's kind of been going back and forth revolves around this Warner Brothers Discovery takeover. There were a lot of questions yesterday about Netflix. Where's the buy on Netflix? I'll be honest with you, one thing, and I'll continue to pay attention to them, but I really would like to see this deal take place before swinging Netflix here. Lot of loose ends here. In any case, this is what the Warner Brothers Discovery chart looks like. You can see this thing's basically just been straight up since rumors of this takeout took place or started. Let's take a look at the actual story here. Paramount has a hostile $108 billion bid for Warner Brothers. And apparently, there's some ghosting going on here. David Ellison-led Paramount Skydance, or ticker PSKY, launched a hostile bid worth $108.4 billion for Warner Brothers Discovery, ticker WBD, on Monday in a last-ditch effort to outbid the streaming giant Netflix and create a content powerhouse. A regulatory filing on Monday revealed that the HBO owner's lack of response fueled Paramount's push. Paramount said it made 6 proposals over 12 weeks, each increasing in value, culminating in the fully financed $30 per share. Despite this, Warner Brothers never engaged with Paramount and chose instead to commit to what the Comedy Central owner called, quote, an obvious financially inferior transaction with extraordinary regulatory risk and a longer timeline to a possible closing, end quote. Here is a timeline of the events that led to the all-cash offer that is about $18 billion higher than Netflix offer last Friday. Remember, Warner Brothers Discovery is not halted. There seems to be a bidding war back and forth. WBD is the beneficiary of that as it continues to push higher as the bid goes higher and higher. Nonetheless, here is the timeline for you. A couple of years ago, Paramount Global and Warner held periodic merger talks, but they didn't come close to any deal. Then on July 7th of 2024, Paramount Global merged with Skydance. That was completed in August. June 9th of this year, Warner Brothers announced plans to separate its cable networks by mid-2026. And I think this is really what Netflix like. They want the content. They don't necessarily want to be running a TV channel or a series of TV channels. September 11th through the 22nd, Paramount pursued Warner Brothers, but its initial $19 per share offer was rejected. So this started at $19 per share. September 27th through October 8th, they revised the offer to $22 with 66.7% cash and co-CEO and co-chair roles rejected. October 19th through 13th, we had another $23.50 per share offer from Paramount that was rejected. Warner Brothers launched a multi-round sales process. November 20 through 24th, they got a $25.50 offer submitted. There was discussion on some key terms that took place. And then between November 24th and December 1st, Paramount makes a $26.50 cash, or excuse me, $26.50 per share all cash offer, fully backstopped $5 billion regulatory reverse termination fee. And then December 3rd through 4th, Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav raised concerns about Paramount's equity financing and non-U.S. investors. Paramount finally submitted a $30 $30 per share all cash offer. Ellison, this is David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, texted Zaslav and said, just tried calling you about the new bid we've submitted. I heard you on your concerns and believe we have addressed them in our new proposal. Please give me a call back when you can discuss this in detail. I'm sorry, I'm struggling this morning. No response was received even after a follow-up. Then on December 5th, Netflix and Warner Brothers announced an $82.7 billion merger, and December 8th, Ellison's Paramount launches a hostile bid. So this story is not over yet. There's a lot of back and forth in here. I'm not trading this at all. I'd be curious to see what you folks feel on this. Is there still a trade here? I guess that's where we start. Is there still a trade here, or has this been going on for so long? The price has really just been kind of bought up. Maybe it's not worth it anymore. I'd be curious to get your opinion on that. Day trader here, appreciate this. My prediction is Netflix gets the movie studios and Paramount gets the cable networks, including CNN. So maybe they do split it. Maybe that's how it ends. Actually, that's not a terrible. That's not a terrible idea. That I could see that happening. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but that's interesting. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to stay away from that drama. Yeah, I totally get it. That makes sense there. And yeah, Trump did. I guess there was a lawsuit there with Paramount. Trump said recently that he's not really friends with anyone here. I'm pretty sure he's friends with the Ellisons. I don't know if that's going to play into all of this yet, but that's what's going on here. It's not over yet. We should expect some more news here. If you do want to play this, I think it probably makes sense to play it with options where you can define your risk ahead of time and hope that this thing gets wrapped up in the time frame of your trade. But a lot of back and forth here. It's not over yet. Now, next story that I want to talk about is NVIDIA. And you know what we should do? We should actually start with the NVIDIA chart. Let's do that. Let's go ahead. Let's go back to Pro. Let's go to the NVIDIA chart here. This is where we're at. And I think that this is actually at a pretty interesting area. NVIDIA 187.15 here in the pre-market. Let's see. It's basically right at, it's 20 cents below the 50-day moving average. So we did break the downtrend. Now we kind of broke the downtrend line by trading sideways. We'd rather see the stock price move up significantly through that price. We didn't do that. We kind of just traded sideways, but we did ride along the 100-day. Yesterday, we recaptured and closed above the 20-day, which is great, although that's basically stacked right beneath the 50 here. We tested the 50. We were rejected by the 50. We should have another go at it today. We're only 20 cents beneath that here today. And then furthermore, looking at today, I would give about 192-ish for the trend line that originates back on September 5th. There's an upward sloping trend line. A recapture of this probably puts the double top that's up here around 212 in play. Now, as far as the news affecting all of this, we just told you that they're going to allow the H200 chips to be sold to China, with the America taking, I believe, 25%. Beijing, however, is reportedly planning to restrict access to NVIDIA's advanced H200 chips, despite the green light from Trump for their exports to China. Beijing is working on limiting access to NVIDIA's H200 chips, the company's second best generation of artificial intelligence chips. That was reported by the Financial Times. Chinese regulators are reporting weighing limited access to the chips, requiring potential buyers to obtain approval before purchasing. These buyers would have to justify why they cannot meet their chip needs through domestic providers. No final decision has been reached yet, according to a report which cites sources familiar with the matter. Beijing has used this ban to encourage domestic chip makers to develop products to compete with NVIDIA. The Chinese government has also increased custom checks on chip imports and offered energy subsidies to data centers that use the domestic chips. The news of Beijing's plan to restrict access to NVIDIA's H200 chips comes after Trump's announcement on Monday, or the H200 chip export approval sparked a surge in shares of the U.S. chip makers, including AMD, which closed 1.44% higher at 221.11. Notably, Trump also mentioned President Xi responded positively. They even threw in an exclamation point for those of you that are counting those. However, this was followed by the arrest of 2 Chinese nationals for allegedly smuggling NVIDIA chips into China in violation of the U.S. export controls. In recent months, Chinese regulators have intensified efforts to curb reliance on foreign AI chips, reportedly banning NVIDIA and other imported processors from new state-funded data center projects and requiring projects still early in construction to replace them entirely. Customs authorities also tightened checks on semiconductor imports, showing large-scale GPU shipments. At the same time, China is accelerating domestic chip production, aiming to triple AI chip output by 2026 and build a fully self-sufficient tech stack. So, okay. We'll see how that all shakes out here. I actually am expecting, I think if the market holds together here, NVIDIA might actually make a pretty decent trade here today. We'll see how all of that shakes out. All right, next story here. Cathie Wood has some positive news for 2026, or I guess I shouldn't say positive news, positive outlook, I would say. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood is forecasting a historic economic boom driven by the incoming administration's fiscal policies, describing the landscape as, quote, Reaganomics on steroids, end quote. In a recent update to investors, Wood argued that the combination of aggressive tax cuts and deregulation under President Trump will create a more powerful growth engine than the 1980s era of supply-side economics. Wood's optimism centers on the legislative package she refers to as OB3, which is the one big beautiful bill. According to Wood, the bill's smartest feature is making tax cuts retroactive rather than phasing them in, a lesson learned from the delays that slowed the initial impact of Ronald Reagan's policies. Quote, we think this is Reaganomics on steroids, end quote, highlighting, that came from Cathie Woods, highlighting a specific provision such as the elimination of taxes on tips and overtime pay and a reduction in taxes on Social Security benefits. She also noted that doubling the SALT, the state and local tax deduction cap from $10,000 to $20,000, which offers significant relief to residents in high tax states. The potential impact on consumer wallets is substantial. Citing data from Piper Sandler, Wood projected that the proposed tax relief, real disposable personal income, money available after inflation, could grow at an annualized rate of roughly 8% in the coming quarters. This dovetails with President Trump's Thanksgiving comments to U.S. service members, where he hinted that massive tariff revenues could allow the U.S. to substantially cut or even eliminate federal income tax. Wood confirmed that the budget deficit is already shrinking, attributing roughly 2/3 of the $350 billion reduction to tariff inflows. Wood believes these fiscal injections are arriving just as the economy transitions from a rolling recession to a rolling recovery. While acknowledging weak employment numbers, she argues that increased liquidity and the OB3, I'll just use her parlance, the OB3 will fuel a market swish into the end of the year, setting the stage for a prosperous 2026. Now, I do think that we're going to get this move into the end of the year. I would not be shocked at all if SPY printed 700 and the S&P printed 7,000. It seems like there are just so many targets. We actually have options that are kind of showing that that's going to be the next move here. We'll see if it all shakes out. The one thing that I will say, I agree a lot with what Kathy is saying here, but the one thing that I will say is I do think we are going to see a pullback sometime in 2026. I don't know if it's going to be early in 2026 or if it's maybe going to wait out the first quarter or something like that. We've talked about valuations being high, and even with some of the good news, I actually think a down move in the market to kind of alleviate some of the fears of being overpriced and such would actually make for some pretty good entry into some of these names. And if you get the tailwinds that Kathy is talking about here, that could be a prosperous 2026. But again, and this is another discussion that we have often in happy hour. We want to wait for a pullback to make these additions. We kind of all think that there is one coming. I know that's a dangerous game because when you're waiting for the pullback, that's when it won't show up. And that's when you'll be left sitting on the sidelines. But I think 2026 is going to be interesting. I do think, at least for right now, I don't think that we necessarily have to worry about a huge pullback for the rest of the year. Now, I'm not making a huge call here. It's December 9th. There's 30 days in December, 31 days in December, 31 days in December. So we've got one full week. Then we have the Christmas week, and then we have the week that's truncated by New Year's. So I don't really think we're going to see a pullback here by the end of the year. I'm hoping that we get more of this kind of active trading that we've all been taking advantage of as we wrap up 2025. But even with a lot of positives on the in front of us in 2026, I still think we're going to see a market move down, and that would actually, again, I think, represent a buying opportunity. All right, next story here. This is going to be on Pepsi. And you know what? We often don't take a look at the Pepsi chart. So let's pull up ticker PEP. Here is your Pepsi chart. Now, kind of sideways here, really kind of been sideways since the summer. Pepsi actually, and that's coming off of a pretty nasty downtrend. In fact, you know what I should do now that we might be curling up? Let me actually extend this top side trend line here. Oh, I got to grab the right one. Come on, Ryan. Let me actually extend this one out. We're going to connect all of those highs. This should be pretty good, though. This actually gives us a target. Let me actually fix this other line, too, while I'm at it. Okay, this will actually give us a target if Pepsi continues to trade higher here. Let me zoom back in so we can see exactly where we're at. Basically, trading back and forth around the 100-day. We are set up to test and potentially move through the 50 and the 20-day, which are, excuse me, pretty much sitting on top of each other, 1 point higher than where we are at. And then we have the 500-day up there at 156, the trend line up here. By the time we get to that, that would probably be closer to 163, 162. So I would say 162 to 163, an upside target here if Pepsi can keep going or keep coming up off the bottom. Now, what's going on here? Pepsi to drop 20% of products and embrace cleaner ingredients and aggressive cost cuts in a Elliott-driven revamp. Now, this should hopefully help the stock. I was wondering if I was going to get this. Tyler, I'm glad that you said that. I was thinking to myself when I was reading the story, I was like, are we going to get the Tesla, the Pepsi and Coke back and forth here? Tyler did not disappoint, saying Pepsi is greater than Coke. I'll be honest, I can sit this one out. I gave up soda. I stopped drinking soda just because it's just so bad for you. And it was an easy way for me to eliminate something very bad that I ate or drank quite often. So I don't really have a dog in this race, but I used to be a Coke fan. Hopefully, this doesn't spark a bunch of arguments here. As far as the stock goes, the big thing about Pepsi is that they have a lot of snacks from the Frito-Lay brand that's incorporated into PEP. So that's something else to consider. But that as an aside here, Pepsi announced a set of operational changes backed by activist investor Elliott Investment Management on Monday, including a supply chain review and a streamlined product lineup. The changes, which involve removing nearly 20% of its U.S. product lineup, are expected to accelerate organic revenue growth, deliver record productivity savings, and improve core operating margins starting in 2026. That came directly from Pepsi CEO Ramon Laguarta. Pepsi is also ramping up its innovation strategy by rolling out cleaner label products with simpler ingredients, no artificial colors and flavors, and added nutritional benefits like protein, fiber, and whole grains. This includes new Simply Naked Cheetos and Doritos. And let me just pause here because I know we joke around that this is also kind of a food stream, or at least it morphs into that randomly. I do a pretty good job fending off snacks that are just no good for you. I've really made a conscious effort to try and eat cleaner and healthier and focus more on actual food for meals as opposed to light food like snacks. But I'm here to tell you, I got a weakness. I have a personal weakness, and it is absolutely these damn simple ingredient Cheetos. They are so effing good. It is hard to say no. It is absolutely hard to say no. Occasionally, Costco carries these. I, generally speaking, have to quickly walk past that aisle because I just look at the bag and it's just like, oh, I know exactly how good they are. And although they are simpler ingredients, I still feel like eating too much of those is no bueno. So let me know if you folks have tried these Simply Naked Cheetos and Doritos. They're so good. But we're gonna remain vigilant and remain strong here. Anyway, this includes the new Simply Naked Cheetos and Doritos, refreshed Lay's and Tostitos, and the upcoming 2026 launch of Doritos Protein, which will be very interesting. I wonder how some of these protein-infused snacks will do and what the actual health score of those will be when they're released. The change follows Elliott's September disclosure of approximately a $4 billion stake in PepsiCo, advocating for adjustments in response to the company's overly complex brand portfolio and a shrinking beverage market share. Mark Steinberg, a partner at Elliott, said the new plan focuses on affordability and accelerating innovation, which would aggressively cut costs, is expected to drive stronger revenue and profit growth. Separately, the company is also planning job cuts in North America, according to a Bloomberg report. Pepsi did not immediately respond to our comment, but of course we will update this as we can. Lion here in all caps yelling at everybody, soda equals an unhealthy sugar, not even natural. I think you mean unhealthy, but indeed. And one of the other things that I've learned here is that when you drink something that is high in sugar, it's actually worse for you than if you ate something high in sugar. So soda just getting yet another strike against it. Despite weaker volumes, Pepsi's robust cost management enabled earnings of $2.29 per share in the third quarter, surpassing the street expectation of $2.26. The revenue for the quarter came in at $23.94 billion, which was slightly above the consensus of $23.85 billion. The company projects organic revenue growth of 2 to 4% for fiscal 2026, excluding factors like acquisitions and currency fluctuations, versus analyst average estimates of around 2.7%. PepsiCo has been facing challenges, including a subdued consumption trend and a halt in Frito-Lay production in Rancho Cucamonga, California, after more than 50 years of operation. That happened in June. Company stock has also seen a decline in the past year, raising concerns among shareholders. So let me know. First of all, I guess we should just start this up now while we can. What do you like more, Pepsi or Coke? And then the other thing is, do you like the move here by Pepsi to move to cleaner ingredients, reduce the workforce going forward here? Again, going back to the chart here, it sure seems to me if they're able to execute off of that, we have some pretty decent upside targets here, and it does look like the selling or the move down here probably exhausted. Okay, Omerica says Pepsi. Dive Deep says H2O. That's where I'm at too, man. Filtered water. That is what I drink more than anything else, and it makes me feel awesome. America says, I do love the better ingredients. So do I. Feel like they should do that in all of them. Let's see. Jane says Pepsi for me. David says I'm pro Pepsi. Let's see, what else do we have here? Maybe say Coca-Cola instead of Coke. Yeah, you're right, Lynn. I probably should do that. We're not talking about drugs. We're talking about soda. So you're right. I should probably say Coca-Cola. I appreciate that. I'll try and make that change. Catch me if I screw it up. Rooster says no soda for me. That is the way. DCL says water is the way. Totally agree. Pepsi makes better waters. That's fair. You guys never disappoint. We get some of these topics for discussion here. Y'all folks never disappoint. You know who else never disappoints? Yeah, that's right. That's the T3 guys. We're going to go ahead and bring on Adam Mesh right now. Adam, good morning. How you doing, my man?
What's up, Brian? How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good here. I'm a little bit disappointed that the Bears lost to the Packers yesterday, but it's okay because we see them here in 2 weeks again. But outside of that, I'm doing really good here. My favorite time of the year. And I'm glad to have you back here because I definitely want to talk about what you're looking at. And I guess I'll just start with this. Well, first of all, get all of Adam's top option strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds the best trades looking to print money every single week. Adam, I get so excited every time you come on here. I forget to read the damn thing half the time. So wanted to get that out of the way here. Look, what do you have your eye on and what do you think about the Fed decision this week?
All right. So, by the way, Bears-Packers was Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I know this because you said yesterday, because last night I won and made the fantasy playoffs because Jalen Hurts had, for the first time on record, did you see it?
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say. He had one play where he had -4 points because he threw an interception
and a fumble
and then picked up the fumbled interception and then fumbled again. Adam, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I watched that play live and I sent my group thread a text and I said, did Jalen Hurts just score -4 points on one play? I've been playing fantasy baseball since 1999, and I've been playing fantasy football since 2000. I have never one time in my life seen that, and I was like, this is hilarious.
Right? Yeah. No. So I'm a little tired. I was up watching that game, and I was so amped because even the last play of the game where he threw the interception caused me to win, and so I was like, I thought I lost. It's very rare in fantasy for anyone who plays where it's over unless someone gets a negative. So it was over, and then he threw the interception, and I won. Anyhow, so
that's all.
So in terms of what I'm watching, it's very interesting lately. There's been a lot of individual stocks that the biotech sector, which I don't usually trade. You're getting some crazy follow through on some trades.
Yeah, so you are.
I could walk you through some of the ones that I got involved. I'll tell you the one I missed, first of all. And these are just some of the extreme moves I'm seeing. So CAPR, Caper.
Okay.
And I'm trading everything based on like volume. And I notice unusual spikes and I get involved. So I got involved for Caper, stayed in for a day. I ended up selling it at 636. The next day it hit 40. And I was like, oh my God. And I had 3,000 shares. So I'm like, well, there's $100,000.
Oh.
Right? But then I did hit on the stock. It's like a nasal spray company out of Israel, PLRZ.
Yep, Polyrizon.
Okay. So I literally was talking to my cousin on the phone. He's a trader. We're talking stocks. And I'm like, I don't know. I noticed a lot of volume in this one. Maybe I should just sell it. I don't know. And he called me. I was at my daughter's volleyball game at like 6:30 at night. He goes, Did you sell that stock you're talking about? I'm like, no, I still have it. He goes, it's trading at 21. Like I was in it from 7. I ended up getting out at 17. And then yesterday I came in with
let me get in there real quick. You said you were at a volleyball game for one of your kids?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you close it while you were at the game or did you wait for the pre-market the next day?
No, I sold, well, I sold 3/4 of the trade that night.
Okay, so
At
because
17, at 17.
okay, so you were in the stands making trades there. That's what I wanted to
I
check out
would,
because
and I've done that before, but no, I was at the game and then I got home. So I went to the game, I had forgot about it, got a call. So I was standing in my kitchen and he's like, please tell me you still have that. Yeah, no, it was up 10 points. So I sold 3/4 of it right away. It was a
okay,
gift.
awesome. Married to the game. This is kind of what I was going. Thank you for summarizing that better than I could, Brian. That was exactly it. We love that heart right there,
And
Adam.
then Wave I came in with yesterday, WVE. I'm sure you saw that one.
Oh yeah.
And that's, this one is interesting. This was kind of annoying because I had 3,000 shares, but I had sold calls against 2,000 of them. So I had to roll back the calls in the morning, but I had a free look at one. But I was out of this at 13, up from 750. But this was another good one. This is a weight loss one that doesn't cause you to lose bone. But
Yeah.
so I guess that's what I'm saying is overall on the market, we've been saying for the last 60 days, like the kind of the tops in, be very conservative with these moves towards the end of the year. Our portfolio had a really good year. We're managing our positions, collecting premium, but looking just for those individual plays, but not kind of making any kind of big decision, which brings us to why, which is the Fed announcement today. My whole thing on the Fed announcement is this. It's just like an earnings announcement, okay? Right? And I always say, if you sat down with, you guys were talking about Coke, Pepsi right before I came on. If you sat down with the CEO of Pepsi, Coca-Cola, sorry. If you sat down with the CEO of Pepsi and he told you what his earnings were going to be, or she told you what their earnings were going to be, you still don't know if the stock would go up or down. You don't know how people are going to react to those earnings because it's not really about the earnings. It's about the expectations and everything else. It's kind of like a gun going off for a move. It's the same thing with the Fed announcement today. It's going to be at 2 o'clock. You're going to see massive volatility come in. You're going to see swings. There's going to be an end or a but or a pause or something. And you have no idea why that means anything until it's too late, but it's going to cause some kind of extreme move. So we just know that's going to happen. And then it's kind of like a rattle a sack and bingo, reshuffle the deck cards. It's just a new starting point where now the market kind of like sets new lines in the sand.
Okay, so it should be interesting. It should be really interesting. I say all the time, you're absolutely right. Like I could know exactly what the numbers are. I could know exactly what Powell's going to say, but I have no effing idea how the market is going to react to it. And one of the other things that we had talked about last night on Happy Hour is that it seems like the next day you often get the opposite move. So if we trade up on Wednesday after the announcement, that's no guarantee that we're not going to get pounded on Thursday. And it does seem to kind of go back and forth like that. So I'm going to try and be. Let me ask you. I was just going to say I'm going to try and be nimble. How do you approach something like that? Do you reduce your size? Do you use options? How do you stay nimble so you can hit either direction, or do you just avoid it completely?
Well, so we have a portfolio we've been running for the last couple of years. That's the Mesh Prime with the thing up there. That's just. I mean, that's the only thing I do. I used to do 10 services for people. Now I've just done one for the last 2 years, and it's amazing. So that's up there if anyone wants to join it. And we manage this, and it's so hedged right now with options against the positions that the Fed announcement is going to be a non-event. We have like a fortified tank of a portfolio. Me individually, who comes from a background having spent 10 years as a day trader, that's like the waves. Of course, I'm going to go out and surf when we got the big waves. Like I'm not going to trade today until 2 o'clock.
Well, okay, so really quickly, the chat's talking about this. The decision is tomorrow. So the meeting
Wednesday.
Starts today. It's a 2-day
2
meeting, but
o'clock
the decision in the 2 p.m. time he's talking about happens tomorrow.
Correct. So 2 o'clock Wednesday is like a gun going off. And what I'll usually do is out of the money options. I'll buy some out of the money options if it looks like we could lean in a direction and get some exaggerated momentum. And you look for those calls or puts on the Qs or something where like 30 cents can turn into $3. I'm looking for like 10x in options where I'll risk a little bit to make a lot.
I love that. That's what I want to hit too. I'm going to be right with you there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for is those. That's I always say the market's like surfing. Like if you know what you're doing, and I guess maybe nobody knows what they're doing, but if you feel
I was going to say that doesn't include me then because I have no idea what I'm doing.
But fair enough. But like if you've been doing this for a long time and you look for those extreme waves, you're going in the ocean when everyone else is leaving. So for us as traders who look for opportunities, if you understand risk reward, we're going in for those. But that's for me personally with the Fed announcement. With the portfolio, let me give you an example of something we've been doing which is great because I like to talk about the exciting things because that's more fun. But let me tell you about like my favorite trade that I just made in the last couple of weeks, which was very, very conservative. I'm just bringing it up on my screen right here so I could have it. So Dropbox is a stock that it's a stock that we have in our portfolio that we like. Very conservative play. And what we like about Dropbox the most is their overall game plan. And you could go back and look at the records, and this becomes like more of a fundamental play. They are buying back stock at a very consistent rate to the point where one day they'll own all their stock again. Okay. And historically, companies that take most of their stock out of play tend to do very well, especially when they're profitable and earning money like Dropbox is. So we decided that's a stock we want to get involved with for the long term. We think it's a good long-term play. And then we really go about this in a professional way. So we start by selling a put. So we sold the 30 put for 55 cents. Okay. So right away, we bring our cost basis down to 29.45. And then we end up taking ownership. Maybe we don't. In this case, we did. If we don't, we just profit on the 55 cents. If you did 10 contracts, $550. We did 6 because we're willing to own it afterwards. So we make $330. Now we own Dropbox at $29.45. Okay. Now, once we take ownership, we start selling calls above it. And we sold the 30 calls for 45 cents. Then we sold the 29.50s a couple of weeks later for $1. And then we sold the 30s for 50 cents. So now our cost basis is down into the 27s. And like I'm ruthless. When I'm in one of these trades, I want my cost basis to be 0. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to keep going until I own this at 0 cost basis and I just collect premium. So what happens now? We're sitting in Dropbox, which closed yesterday at 29. And even though it's down 50 cents from where we bought it, we are up probably 10%. And that's just because of options and the premium collection. And that's what professional trading is. And so, yes, when I'm talking about the Qs, which is fun, and I'm talking about these kind of one-hit wonder stocks that I'm getting involved with, sure, that's exciting. But the real consistent stuff that you could do day in, day out for years and sleep at night with no stress is like a Dropbox play. Like you don't care what happens today with the Fed announcement. It's not going to affect you. Yeah. You already sold your premium. You're going to sell your premium next time. If you have to roll it in the money, you'll roll it in the money. But that's a professional trade. That's what I do in Mesh Prime, and that's what I should be talking about.
Okay. Well, we'll take that anytime. We'll talk about any type of trade that you want to make. I know we on Tuesdays and Fridays we bring on Anne Marie, who does very similar things to you in terms of selling options and using options to lower a cost basis, and then your options actually open up with the amount of things that you can do open up as your cost basis comes in. So we're all about that here. We'll take the boring stuff, we'll take the exciting stuff, and everything in between. Folks, get all of Adam's top option strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds trades looking to print money every week, both conservative and exciting, it turns out. All right. Is there anything else that I got a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about here, but is there anything at the top of your mind that you want to go over?
Did ALT come on your radar at all?
ALT, that's Alt Immune?
Yeah.
Not recently. And not that I can think of here. So we haven't. Okay. So I haven't gone through the movers for today yet. I would imagine Alt is going to be on the list. What happened yesterday?
I just noticed it was picking up on unusual volume activity. I got involved, and then I see it's trading up another 30 cents today. I didn't know. I don't even remember. Sometimes I only own 400 shares of this. Sometimes I forget why I bought it. Honestly, the one that's standing out to me right now is like I got to go back and look why I bought it and what happened.
No, so this just looks like there was above normal activity that was
Yeah.
directionally bullish for alt. Okay, so what's the play here?
I mean, I like that until I prefer there to be no news and it's trading up on unusual activity
Interesting.
because then you get kind of like that, unless it's like a Singapore stock or something like that where it's probably being manipulated.
Sure.
But in something like this, yeah. Someone said more Ozempic. That's funny. No,
Well, look at
I think you kind of like look to ride the wave ahead of the news.
this is actually pretty sweet here. It actually looks like we are just starting with today's candle, in fact, unless that was yesterday. Yesterday's candle, I beg your pardon, breaking a downtrend here that really kind of starts in 2020.
Yeah,
Maybe things turning around here.
I mean, there's a lot of juice on those options too, even for this week. Which, like, I mean, yesterday, like the sevens were trading at 50 by 55 cents, and that's a lot for a $5 stock. So then I start to wonder, like, is there like then I want to make sure there's not like some kind of imminent announcement or something like for FDA.
Okay.
I was like, Wave had the options, you couldn't even trade them; they were so juiced, and then it exploded. So usually, if the options are pricing it, that means there's a big move coming either way.
Okay. Hey, that's really awesome. We haven't seen the big move yet, so appreciate that.
Yeah. Promising clinical trial, and they had a leadership change. That was it. They had a CEO. I don't know. What were your questions for me?
Well, I did want to ask you about a couple of things. Last time that we were together, which was in the middle of October, one of the stocks you had talked about was Path, which is UiPath. This is another AI play. This recently has been making a huge move here. We've actually traded it a couple of times here. Do you have any update on Path, whether either a trading plan or about the company or anything like that?
No, I don't. I noticed I saw it look really good.
Yeah.
Hit a new high. I haven't done anything.
I'm wondering if there's more juice to this, if maybe we can see 25.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's getting back to its highs. It's definitely one of the better stocks in a market that's more neutral right now, for sure. I feel a lot of pressure. I was so, when we started doing this, one of the first things I did was quantum and nuclear. You remember that? Like, like at 90 cents. So like, I'm never going to beat that. So like Path at 14 to 19 seems like a nothing for us considering qubits, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I was going to ask you on that. The last time we were talking about some of the quantums there, we talked about relative weakness and relative strength. And one of the things that I had told you that we were looking at, you were talking mostly about the underlying. I think we spoke about Rigetti. I think that was our example. And one of the things that I had told you about is, hey, looking to play this to the downside, we're really kind of looking at RGTZ, which is the ETF that had just come out. Now, since then, this thing has been great to us. And I mean great to us. We have day traded this. We have swing traded this a bunch of times. A number of different people from a chat hit this. So we've been doing really, really good with some of these ETFs. Do you have any overall thought on quantum at all? Are you kind of done with that? Are you still messing around with it? Any thoughts on any of these?
Not now. It's that same like fuel cell from like 2000 where it was really hot and then it cools off and then just kind of stays for a while and play. Like, I don't think I do think quantum is the future, but like, I still can't get over when Jensen Huang said, it's 10 years away, if that. And then they started changing it, saying, no, it's closer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. What I'm looking for is, I'm obsessed with ChatGPT right now, like the premium version. I talk to it every day. I think everybody should be talking to it because it just makes life easier. It's not always right, like, but the advice and the work and it allows me to do so much more. But I'm looking for that stock that allows me to take it with me on the go more. Like right now, it's on my phone. It's on, but like it's not set up yet. I was asking it. There's something called Voila that someone's working on, where you could be in conversations and it could be listening and start to give you impact feedback, or even just know, like, some people are private. They're like, I wouldn't want ChatGPT to know. Like my daughter's like, I don't want it listening to me. I want it listening to me, advising me like, hey, did you ever check up on your friend that said they weren't feeling well at dinner? Like I wanted to do that. I want to have it where it's like giving me messages like, don't forget to, you just said earlier that you were going to go get your car washed. Did you do that yet? Like, I want that kind of. So I'm looking for ChatGPT on the go.
It almost seems like you're looking for a personal assistant here out of your AI
Sure.
system. Now, ChatGPT is your favorite, not Perplexity or Grok or Claude or any of the other models?
In fairness, I just I was first to market, and that's the one I've just been using. But I've heard good things about others, but I haven't tried the other ones.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then the other thing that I kind of wanted to ask you about, first of all, that's interesting.
Can we ask your audience real quick? Because I love your audience. If you guys do use ChatGPT, which ones do you use? Just put it in the chat. Like whether it's Grok, Perplexity, ChatGPT. What else would there be?
There'd be Claude, which would be another one that does a lot of writing. There are probably some others. The chat continues to amaze me with the amount of stuff that they know that I haven't heard of. I'll start here. For myself, I use Grok. I keep the app on my phone. It works awesome, and I'm able to just talk to it, and it's super fast. And then on my actual laptop that I'm traveling around with, I use Perplexity. Gemini would have been another one. There you go. Okay, so here you're getting this. Grok, Gemini, Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok.
I love how many people respond, by the way. That's my favorite thing about your audience.
Yeah, we have the best.
Yeah.
We absolutely have the best audience here. So Michael here uses all of them. ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. Let me ask you, Adam, what is the best thing that it does for you? What is the most value add that you get from using the GPT tool? Like, is it a specific task? Is it something like you just mentioned, like remembering birthdays or checking in on people?
No, it was I really appreciate the way it stores your kind of what you've been searching and will tie it in to something else. So like if I ask it a question about like a food and I had told it that something bothered me or something, it was like, oh, I remember that bothered you. Maybe this has to do with it. Like it builds on your previous questions in the premium. So it really gets to know you. Like if I'm doing something for one of my kids and I ask it to write like a letter thanking the teacher, it knows my kid's name without me having to re-put it. It like knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If I'm helping my daughter study for an exam and I say, oh, let's do a test like we did last time, it knows what kind of test I want because we did it already. I don't even have to put the inputs in again. I'm like, let's do that again.
Yeah.
The best thing it did for me was I put in kind of for life advice. Like, here's where I'm at. Here's what I've been doing. What do you think? And it actually told me that this is really interesting. I mean, if you want to go deep level, this was the coolest feedback I got. It said to me, based on everything I'm doing, that I'm making too many trades because I put in a lot of prompts. I'm making too many trades during the day. It said your whole career is based around the markets and trading, but you have to think of trading for you as alpha and marketing and branding, not just income. And if it's alpha and marketing branding, then you should be spending more time on your business and doing more longer term, high probability trades. If you're spending your time on the daily trades, they're the least chance of success and the most time consuming. So we'd like to see you slow down the dailies and spread out your trading and work more on your business elsewhere. And I'm like, you're right. I'm like, you're right. I agree. And I thought that was unbelievable advice that it gave me. I really did.
That is, I actually agree with that. That often, I mean, the day trades, they take the most work. I don't make the most amount of money from that. It's spectacular that it's able to get it right. Cool Beans here says, you like storing all of your personal thoughts and information?
Yeah.
Do you worry about that at all?
Who cares? What are they gonna do? Like, I'm an open book anyhow. So yeah. I'm like, I am who I am. Like I was a public figure for years. So like people know who I am. They know what I do. I don't care.
Yeah. Tara here. I like this. Come on, guys, get real. You guys are on the internet. Of course, none of us have a private life. Some of that makes a lot of sense to me too.
To you, anytime I speak, I get an ad for whatever I said from 50 different places now.
I was going to say, I've actually just kind of come to grips with the fact that, yeah, my phone is listening to me. The same thing happens to me. I talk about something and all of a sudden I'm getting blasted with ads for it. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Really fascinating stuff there, Adam, about your affinity for GPT and what it does for you. I'd like to, if you come across anything else really awesome, definitely update us on how that's helped and what you like. That is very, very cool.
and like this interesting conversation. Yeah, no, this is. I always love coming on here, Ryan. I could talk to you all day. I always have fun. You're a great host.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I try to make this a community for both the guests and the viewers where everyone can feel like they're getting something out of it. So
I'll give you a good compliment. You're an active listener.
Oh yeah.
Not only are you listening, but you're pushing that conversation, that whatever someone gives you, which is good. It's good.
My first couple of girlfriends really ended up training me well, it turns out. I had to listen to really kind of get ahead there. Okay. I did want to ask you one more thing here. Just about IWM in general. I know we kind of talk about some of these smaller stocks here. IWM sure to me looks like it's going to break out here. We were just talking about a rate cutting environment, which should benefit a lot of these small cap stocks. Are you playing small caps as a theme at all into 2026, or is it more of an individual basis, individual stock basis, I should say?
So what I love is if you give me a small cap with liquid options, right? Like that alt that I just showed you, or like, I could give you. There's actually a lot that we trade in my portfolio. So if you want to talk about, I'm just gonna bring it up real quick. So Resolve, RR, Rich Tech Robotics, Microvast, MVST, JMIA. I can go down the list. But what my sweet spot is give me like a $6 stock where I could sell $1 options 2 points out of the money. Because all I have to do is get a certain amount of rolls and my cost basis is zero. So with these small caps, I'm just betting they're going to stay in business for 2 years and I'm going to own them at nothing. And that's really worked out for us. So if you want to give me liquid options with high premium on under $10 stocks, yeah, I'm trading them.
Okay, I got one for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Ondas. ONDS. You let me know if those are priced properly for you. It's not $6. It's under $10. Might not be for very much longer, but this is active. It's a FinTwit, darling. This is one of the.
Is this a biotech or no?
No, this is a drone company. This is actually a company that has rail communication and then a subsidiary for drones, and that's why it's made this huge move.
So if you're like if you said to me you have to trade Ondas successfully, go, right? I mean, I'm going to start off and I'm going to sell without knowing anything. I'm not looking at the charts right now, so I'd have to let me just look at the charts really quick.
Sure.
Just so I give a full answer. I'll tell you how I do it. So first I would look at the charts, okay? And I'm always going to take a top-down approach. I want to see where it was, where it's going. Also, what's the volume on it? Like, is there any unusual trends, especially on those small caps when they start to get those popping? But it's 57 cents to 11.70. So we know that the floor could be 2 or 3 right away. We know that because this came from 57 cents. Okay, when did it come from 57 cents? Well, it's been around long enough, but 3, 4, 5 in August, hit 10 in October. Now it's really been holding that 5 to 10 range. So, okay. So what I would come out with is I'd probably sell January 16th, 750 put for 75 cents. Okay. So if I'm going to own it, my cost basis is $6.75. I'm now 2 points in the money. If it doesn't drop down there, then I sold 10 contracts, I just made $750 on the name you gave me. If it does, I'm not buying it at 9. I'm owning it at $6.75. You start to go out. Let's say it holds that value. The March, you could sell the March 9s right now for $250. So you sell the March 9s for $250. Now I'm down to $425. Like, how many more rolls until I'm at 0? I just need Ondas to stay in business. That's what I'm doing. Now, Where do you miss out? I'll tell you where you miss out. If you're a member of my community, where you're going to get upset is when Ondas is at 30 and all we made was $1,500 because we hedged with the options and stuff. So it's a professional trade. My bet on these companies is to hold. It's this. If we were betting on a boxing match, you guys, if we were betting on a boxing match, we are not betting on either fighter to get a knockout. We just want them to go past the 7th round. So you're betting on them not to get knocked out. Just stay on your feet. If you've ever done that, by the way, as a gambler, it's the most fun bet there is. Because the guy starts to wobble and you're like, no, just stay up, just stay up. You're just betting on a guy to stand up for one more round.
I don't bet on boxing or UFC, but maybe I'll try that the next time. The next time I get an opportunity to do that.
Ondas to just stay around for 2 years, and you could own this at a 0 cost basis because the options are so good. Yeah, definitely trade something like that.
Okay. There you go. Folks, get all of Adam's top option strategies, including the one he just gave out here for free, which was awesome. Thank you, Adam. Get all of his top option strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds trades looking to print money every week. QR code on the screen. We dropped the link in chat. Adam, it's awesome. As always, we really love this. We love having you on here. Thanks for taking an extra couple of minutes with us here today. Have a great rest of your Tuesday and good luck this week.
Be good, Ryan. Take care.
All right. Take care. That is Adam Mesh from T3. We get more than we bargained for with the T3 folks. Every single week, I seem to be saying the same thing no matter who comes on here. Anne Marie, guest is talking my jam. Anne Marie, I can't wait to follow up with you in a little bit here, how what you thought about that little segment there. Really, really good stuff. And a free trading plan on Ondas from our guy, Adam. Thank you very much, Adam. Adam's departure leaves room for 13. Let's bring him on. 13. I know you were probably doing family stuff because you're an excellent father, but just to let you know, my opener today was, if you've ever turned the TV off because you watched a catch that caused you to lose your fantasy matchup to 13, you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. 13, that's exactly how my night last night went. I saw A.J. Brown get above the 8-point threshold, and I said, that's a wrap. I'm going to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. And that was the end of that chapter.
You didn't want to watch the rest of that game?
So I did, because that game was actually
wild.
It was
weird.
wild. The Jalen Hurts 4-point fumble interception on the same play. I've never seen it my entire life. Like, the whole game was wild, but I was so tired, 13. I was so tired. I ended up passing out. And when I woke up this morning, I'm like still like groggy eyed. I'm looking at clips. It went down to the last play, like the Bears-Packer game.
Yeah. More turnovers than a rotisserie chicken. This thing was wild.
That is so good.
Going back and forth. That one play you're talking about, they picked it, ran it back, stripped, fumbled, picked up by Hurts.
Fumbled again.
He lost it, and then it gets picked up by the Chargers. That was a wild play. I watched that go down too.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's stuff like that. It's games like that where it's just crazy, unpredictable stuff that's fun happens.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's why we love sports. Man, that's why we love sports. Okay, 13. Last guest here went over a little bit, so let's just roll right into the movers here. I'm going to start with ATMC. This is Alpha Time. Boy, I did this one. Oh my God.
It's halted right now. Just so so we'll get that out there. It's halted.
Okay. Okay. This was actually not one that I was looking at earlier. What on earth is going on with this one? So,
it's a SPAC that was approved.
Okay, SPAC that was approved. Shares are trading higher after shareholders approved its merger with XIII Group.
Yep.
Now it's halted here, up 358% in the pre-market. Oh, and we probably, with the SPAC, they probably don't. Oh, they got no short interest here, at least according. I know that days to cover is obviously off there. But okay, so what do you got on this one? This to me is was this really $16? Now it's $93. Okay, what do you got here, 13?
We're in crack trading, so we're going to see a low float stock like this with 535,000 shares go crazy. Now this shareholder approval was approved yesterday, I believe. I wasn't able to go through all of this SPAC and. What if there's any redemptions post merger or any other clauses that allow holders to unwind their positions. Looks like there was a redemption that was already closed, but XIII is an Asian insurance company, and I don't know anything about it beyond that. I didn't really have time to dive deep into this, so. Kind of on the surface there is what I've got for you. It is a SPAC. They just got shareholder approval to merge with XIII Group, and it's very low float. So I don't know when this is going to halt. It might be halted. It could be halted for the entirety of the day because I don't think there's any news associated with why we're halted now. So if this does unhalt and we are able to trade it, there is a bit of a trend line to the upside that we are close to hitting. I don't know if we're going to end up getting that, but it does have a setup here to push higher with this impulse move to 122 and then a little bit of consolidation into a triangle that while we're still holding above VWAP, that could mean that we might see some higher prints, but it's not a guarantee. And it's not a guarantee we're going to see this thing on halt. So That's what I've got for ATMC. When this unhalts, we can take a look at it and identify some levels. But for now, this thing is just suspended in time.
Yeah, so this is a really good mention here. I'm checking in fact, I'll make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. This is another benefit of the signals tool within Benzinga Pro. I know I have it scrunched down, so we don't often get to take a look at a lot of this content here, but we might as well use this as an example in full screen here this morning. This is a really good example of what the signals tool in Pro can do. In this case, it's saying that this stock here, trading has been halted for information requested by the listing market. So to your point here about not knowing when this is going to unhalt, this is entirely different than the volatility halts that we often see throughout the course of our regular trading. Mm-hmm. This is actually halted for information. As far as I'm aware, there's no indication on when we're going to get this resumed, and there's not necessarily a time frame. In fact, these are some of the halts that can last months. I don't know that that's what's going to happen here with the SPAC, but if you had some company that was doing some shady stuff, and then there's wind of said shady stuff, you can get stocks halted for long periods of time, and this is what it looks like. I don't know when we're going to unhalt here, but we'll take a look at this. It's also worth noting that the units, the rights, and the warrants are also obviously halted along with the stock itself. So, okay, interesting first mover.
and I don't think it's necessarily going through a ticker change today, and that's the reason why it's halted. I don't know the exact reason why it's halted, but when it unhalts, we'll probably get some more news associated with that. We can figure that out. And then really quick, because Diamond Hotline had asked before I came on, what the next support for WVE is. This is a mover from yesterday.
Yep.
Looks to me like around 1950 is going to be your next support from here, and that lines up pretty well at the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. So to the downside, that's the first area of support that I see. Probably going to hit some other areas, but that's the earliest one to me.
Okay. All right, really good stuff there. First mover and some supports for WVE. Remember, Adam was trading this yesterday. This actually looks like it might have some more juice in it today. We'll see how it goes. Next one here is going to be XCUR. This is XCUR. This is one that I feel like we have traded before. XECure is the name of the company here. This actually did have a piece of news here today. Actually, I beg your pardon, the news came yesterday. XECure shares are trading higher after the company announced results from a completed phase 2 trial evaluating Brixator in combination with propranolol and granulocyte colony, stimulating factor for the mobilization of hematopoietic progenitor cells in patients with multiple myeloma undergoing this is so ridiculous. So basically the cell transplantation received its primary endpoint. Look, I'm glad that you sat there and just let me embarrass myself through the whole thing.
I love to see you try.
Opted not to. Yeah, you opted not to help. That's perfect. That makes a lot of sense.
Didn't want to interrupt you.
Phase 2 trial here showing achieving its primary endpoint. That's driving the stock higher here. It's up by 71.5% here today. So let's take a look inside. So it was actually up a lot more than this. Looks like it tried to test 16 in the after hours yesterday. Now we get I don't even know what I want to call this. We get this pre-market where it tries to get back above the VWAP and it just can't. Now, that's not to say that it won't at some point here today, but so far in the pre-market, moves up to the VWAP have been met with selling. We'll see if that continues in the regular session here. Negligible short interest on this name, less than 1% of the float shorted, less than 1 day to cover on here. You can cover up all of these in 1 day easily. Float is 3 million. It's traded almost 13 million here today, and its average 100-day volume is about 150,000. So way over the average here. What are you thinking on this chart for levels?
Well, first of all, this company still has only 1 to 2 quarters of cash in their holdings. So this could be a situation where they're at risk of needing to make an offering. So just keep that in mind when we're trading this one. They don't have a whole lot of cash left to move forward for very long. Phase 2, that implies we're going to, and I don't even know if they have anything else in their pipeline. I didn't check to look, but if this is their only drug, they still have phase 3 to go forward with, and as well as marketing and bringing the drug to market through FDA approval. So lots of cash intensive situations here. They're not going to have enough cash. I think they're going to have to raise it at some point, maybe as early as today, but I don't know. As far as the chart goes, this has been trying to. So there's a seller right now at 936 that they're currently trying to get over right now in the pre-market. They might just take it. There it goes. So one thing that I was watching here before we turned it over to me is we need to get a recapture here of at least 950, but it would be better if we started trading above 975. About an hour ago, that's where we tried to clear was 975. We printed up to 973, got rejected, came back down into the sideways pattern. We're back up here now trying to recapture this 950 to 975 area. That should, if we do, that should help take us through 10. And then we're going to want to focus on the next level of where resistance was just slightly above 11. But that's going to be the next, next thing that I need to see happen is we need to get above 950, 975 in order to see more upside. Otherwise, we're probably coming back down into the sideways pattern.
Okay, yeah, I would be looking at this. I'd want to see us move through the VWAP, which is currently at 937. I also think that round number 10 might also produce some resistance for it. So we'll see what XCUR can do here today. Okay, next stock that I have on the list here is going to be NCPL. This is Net Capital. This was a penny stock yesterday that was getting obliterated on low volume. Looks like it traded higher in the after hours and then tried to take out the $1.20 high this morning that it put in the after hours yesterday. Looks like we did get some news following the close there. Net Capital announces appointment of Rich Wheelis as the CEO. I'm not familiar with him. The company plans expansion from traditional securities into crypto and blockchain-enabled investments. That's got to be a positive. And then included grant under NASDAQ listing rule. Okay, so all of that stuff driving the stock higher here. Looks like it's trying to change its business there, and a new CEO in order to do it. Stock's up 67%. We are in dollar territory here after being in Pennyland yesterday. 2.83% of the float is shorted here. It does have a float of 4.39 million and days to cover 2.57. On average, stock trades just under 500,000 shares a day at about 410,000. Today, we've done 37 plus million, almost 38. 13, what are you thinking here on NCPL?
Well, it looks to me like 120 is being sought after as a level to clear. This company, I wasn't really looking at it until close to the time that you brought me on, because it was trading underneath $1 when I initially looked at it. But then I saw that it was back over, so I was like, we'll take a look at it. New CEO, as the company goes through some changes, like you said, 4.39 million shares in the float, low enough for us to for this stock to get pushed around. And in the pre-market here, and as well as in the after hours, 120 seems to be the big spot to get over. So. Yeah. That's what I'd be focused on is break over 120 and we start closing above that. And we might end up getting that into the open here. So if that happens, I took the high from the two highs from the after hours trading, and I just drew an uptrend line, kind of give myself a target to shoot for. That takes us up to just about between 140 and 145 as we open, if we get that move up there towards the trend line now.
Okay. There we go. Added that to the chart. We'll see what we get out of the open. Okay. Next year's.
Yeah, there were. So we already covered that one, I thought.
Well, so it was there's a couple here. There's ATMC, which is Alpha Time Acquisitions. Then there's ATMV, which is Alpha Vest Acquisitions.
Okay.
Now, are these related?
I don't think so. I was just going to mention that Hood was moving up this morning because of planned Indonesia expansion, and ticker ALEX was up today because they are getting bought out. Okay.
This ATMV, this actually kind of looks a little bit dead. Looks like this popped in the after hours yesterday. Just a low float pop here. Probably, yeah, this is 500,000 shares in the float per Benzinga Pro. This is a ghost town most of the time, so it looks like this is just kind of the crack trading that we had talked about. I don't really see anything else going on here on this one. Short interest is negligible on this name. Didn't really see any news here when I was clicking through. Yeah, we've got nothing here. Let's see what it says in here about ATMC. That's ATMC. This is ATMV. Boy, could this be any more confusing? Yeah, I don't have any reason as to why this is moving here. Okay.
ATMV is the one that's merging with the AMC Corporation, the Robotics Corporation.
Okay, and then ATMC is the one that's up 350%. That's
Joe, when I was looking at Hood, it had an ETF HOOX that I think that was up a lot. So I looked over at what Hood was doing, and it wasn't up very much, but it was still up at the time, and it was on the news that they are they're executing their Indonesia expansion plan. So it might be down now, but when I looked at it, it was trading up on that news.
Okay, the next one on the list here is going to be ticker VOR. This is Vor Biopharma. Remember, going back several weeks here, Kathy from our group has been telling us how great some of these biotechs have been. We just had Adam Mesh on, who reiterated a lot of what Kathy has been saying for weeks here, which was great to see. Vor seems to fit in that. We do have some news here on VOR. This is as of Tuesday, JP Morgan initiating coverage on Vor Biopharma and announcing a price target of $43. This stock is up 25% today and is $10.50 in the pre-market. So massive, massive room to the upside there. And then there's also some Form 4s here. Now, it does look like these must be newer ones here because the last batch has all been selling. Let's see what these Form 4s are. Did you go through these yet at all?
No.
Let's see what we got here on these Form 4s. Okay, so these look like more sales here as they are disposing of those shares. So interesting, $43 price target from JP Morgan, new coverage initiation, and some insider selling. Stock is still up 24% here. I want to shout out Marcus on this one. Marcus early, giving us support levels here in the chat. So we'll look at that together. Let me just finish up with the short interest here. Sorry, 1.64% with 1 day to cover. Average volume of 600,000 shares. It's done 16 plus million here today. Float is still shy of 20 million, 17.97 million here in the float. So despite this is a stock with coverage, still kind of low float here. As far as some of your levels, here's what the intraday chart looks like. VWAP sitting right there at about 12. Mark is saying that he's got support here, 950, 10, and 1050, and resists at 12, 13, and 14, calls the inflection point 11. Inflection point marked off here on the chart by my cursor. We actually have wicks up to that area. It looks like we tried to use that as support earlier. I would agree here with all of Marcus's targets. Good stuff here, Marcus. Appreciate it. 13, what say you here? Ticker VOR.
Well, I'm looking at a daily chart. We are just above we're above the 20-day SMA for the first time since October 7th. So, remember, I was one of those things I was looking for, recaptures the 20 low float names. This is interesting. So we might get some more of a continuation on this. I don't know for sure, but it's something to watch for here as we trade up into a gap fill with this one. So we have a gap in VOR that was from November 10th to 11th, and we closed November 10th at 1880, and then we opened the next day at 951. So we could end up seeing some of this gap filled, if maybe all of it. There's, we have the price action that we're to the left from earlier this morning that we're going to have to deal with now. But once we clear 1470, then we're in that gap fill range, with no other trading in the way prior to that. So I think that's going to be one thing to watch for. If we manage to get up into the 15 handle, we're going to be in gap fill. So do like that particular level. Looks like there's another gap from about 13 to 1440, but we have had some price action in the pre-market there, so I'd probably lean on the pre-market levels more. And I don't know that we'll see that price target anytime soon. JP Morgan thinks it's going to, but it's a low float name, and wild things could still happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we've seen it before on other names. Wouldn't be shocked if we see it here today. It does look like in the pre-market this might be rolling over to retest 10. We'll see, though, as Marcus called it, the inflection point there at 11. That should be a key in where we go here today. Buongiorno, Tiny Pie. Okay, awesome. Next here, we actually have Trox. This is ticker TROX. This is Tronix Holdings. Actually, because EKS is doing such a great job, I'm going to start with EKS's news here before we read Pro. Trox up 23.7%. It's higher now. XIII Bank and Export Finance Australia offers $600 million to support for Tronix rare earth projects here. A little bit more here. They're trading higher because the company announced it received a coordinated, non-binding, and conditional letters of support and interest from Export Finance Australia and Export Import Bank of the United States, respectively, for up to the $600 million that EKS outlined there in limited or non-recourse financing to support the development of its rare earth supply chain. So we have another company here entering the rare earth segment. Stock has actually made a pretty orderly move higher here, holding higher by 24.27%. Quick look at the short interest, high. 22.25% of the float shorted, only 4.33 days to cover. That's down from 6.41, but it's still fairly elevated here. Average 100-day volume, 3.98 million shares. Today, we've traded just shy of 1 million. We should get over that average by the end of the day. And the float here, just shy of 100 million at 94.65. 13, I'm going to turn this over to you. What do you think about the Trox chart? And I'm going to step away prior to the open here. I'll be right back, buddy.
So looking at the Trox chart, 5-minute pre-market chart here, this is trying to hold above the impulse move that it got earlier this morning around 8 o'clock. It took it up to 465. We moved through that level. It went as high as 488, but since we've come back down, we're leaning on that previous high as support. So want to see 465 hold up. You have VWAP beneath it at 456, so that's going to be an area of support as well. It's been riding VWAP up and the 15 EMA on the 5-minute. So if we lose those, could easily get a test down towards the 65 EMA, even though 435 looks like it could provide some support on the way down. It looks like we are going to weaken a little bit into the open here, but I don't think too much. Just have to wait and see what we end up getting out of the open. And we want to watch that VWAP for support, but it looks like it could still climb higher if we get that support from VWAP. So that'll be something worth watching here. Don't have anything else much beyond that. Let me see if there's anything on the daily chart we can lean on. So there is a 527 200 EMA on the daily chart that lines up with some sideways consolidation from earlier this year. If we do manage to hold above 465, I'd probably be looking towards that EMA as a potential target to go to. It's reasonably ranged, so I think we could see that if we get support around 465.
Okay. Really good stuff there. TROX. There is one more that I wanted to hit here, and I think we can do it in time. It's going to be SNTI, Senti Biosciences. I might call this Santi here today, and I apologize in advance if I do. I know someone personally whose name is Santi, and I see it all the time when I see that, so apologize in advance if I say that, and I'm not clear here. Now, what's going on here? Senti Bioscience, or Senti Bio, announces updated Senti 202 clinical data from its ongoing phase 1 trial in relapsed or refractory acute myeloid leukemia patients, demonstrating deep MRD negative, durable, competent remissions and a favorable safety profile. So good phase 1 trial data here for Senti. There's a lot of other information about this trial here. Looks like FDA grants regenerative medicine advanced therapy designation to Senti 202 for the treatment of RR hematomic malignancies, including AML. So we're getting some good news here. Stock's 287, just shy of $3. It is up 20%, doing a decent job holding that so far. Short interest on this is negligible, less than 1%, 2 days to cover, but that's on really low volume. Its average 100-day volume is 174,000 shares. Today we've done 46 million, floats 26 million. You got any thoughts here on SNTI? Senti Claus. I love it, Will. I love it. Santi baby. Okay. The Christmas season is here, 13. There's no resisting.
So this doesn't have enough cash to last another quarter.
Okay. So we need a raise.
You need to raise some capital. I don't know if that's going to happen today or not, but they've got a little more than 12 million in the bank. They burn at least 14 to 18 over the past several quarters. I'm thinking they have to do a capital raise soon. Looking at the chart, they did just get a nice clean bounce off the 65 EMA for what appears to be the second time today. They've been the price has been riding this 65 EMA up since yesterday in the after hours as well. So if we continue to hold up with the 65 EMA, we want to see these other smaller EMAs, the 9 and the 15, get recaptured. That'd be a good sign. We have the VWAP in our way at 315. So once we recapture those smaller EMAs, I think we're going to want to see a recapture of 3 and then the VWAP after that. If that happens, I mean, I don't know exactly where this is going to go, but that would be a good sign for some more upside. So maybe 350 I would peg as the next resistance area if we recapture the VWAP. So those would be some of the levels I'd be looking at. And here we go.
All right, really quickly, Lyon's driving his son to school and texting at the same time.
Stop that.
I would repeat what Tara is saying here. Please be careful. Please focus on the road. Yeah, we'll still be here when you're done dropping your son off. Okay, we are open. Let's giddy up here today, folks.
NCPL pushing away from the VWAP. It looks like this is trying to make. This is the one we drew the trend line for. Looks like it's trying to make its way towards it. We need to see it clear of. This was the 120, like 115, 120 stock. We need to see cleared. 120 was the high in the after hours, so need to take that level out.
Tiny Pie, great idea. I'd love to see a poll. Would you trust a self-driving car to bring your kid to school? That's a great poll. That's a great poll idea.
Depends on how far away they are.
Okay, well, we'll let the producer go ahead and throw that poll together. Really good idea, Tiny Pie. We'll definitely do that. Okay, NCPL and also XCUR. That's not really doing much anything. We did want to see that get back above the VWAP. Looks like it lost the 8 handle there.
VOR. This is down out of the open. We have Trox that tried to push up into the open, but was rejected. So still not able to get above the pre-market high of 488, but we're still above VWAP. NCPL, that's also trying to push higher. Volume doesn't look like it's where it needs to be. And ATMC still halted, suspected.
Yeah, I think we're gonna expect that to be halted for some time, I would imagine.
Yeah, I almost want to say I'm just probably going to sit on my hands for the first several minutes here, let something set up, because I'm not sure if I like anything out of the gate at the moment. VOR just went right down to that 200 EMA. Let's see if that provides any support.
VOR, let me bring that up here.
We were getting mention of QCLS having some movement in the pre-market. That had some news of Martin Shkreli joining he's become a strategic advisor for this stock.
For QLCS, for the one that he's long?
For the one that he's long, yeah. So how about that?
QCLS. Hopefully I'm getting that ticker right.
QCLS, yeah.
QCLS, here we go. Okay, so it popped and dropped. Yikes.
Yep. So that's just more reason why you can't trust this guy. But anyway, VOR now losing the 200 EMA. Trox, here we go. We just hit 490. So new session high, higher than the pre-market now. Let's see if we can get a continuation of this. Volume still needs to be better in my opinion. SNTI lost the 65 EMA. It's trying to recapture it right now before this candle closes. NCPL also trying to get going here as well. No intention of rhyming.
Looks like we got a little bit of a pull there. Tenzin said the market is going to go lower. I'm sorry, Tenzin, it's your fault. So at least you said sorry here, but everyone can blame Tenzin if they want.
Here we go with NCPL trying to push up through that 115 to 120 area. This is what the one we want to see clearing 120 so it can go towards that trend line we drew. Trying to make its way up there now.
I'm going to re-add that trend line to this chart here real quick, 13. That's a good call.
Yep, and there we go. We're hitting 120. There's some sellers trying to walk this down. You still have some sellers in the way at 127, all the way up through 137. So this is still facing some resistance. 122, the current high right now. This is trying to get going here. Trox popped up to 490, came back in. Need to see some closes over these highs. If not over $5, that'd be better. SNTI so recaptured the 65 EMA. We have 41 seconds left in this candle. Still have to close above the 65 EMA and VWAP if we're going to see continued upside.
That's Trox, right? Sorry, I'm doing my best to keep up here.
And there goes NCPL. Give us a trend line, baby.
I shouldn't have taken away. There it is. Give us a trend line pop. NCPL. This is actually looking all right here. Good stuff.
And yes, thank you, Brian. Jolts is at 10. I think we get 2 months worth of data.
Yes. October job openings will be released at 10 as well today. So double data. Are you ready?
And
that's never be probably.
And I think it's going to be pretty important data because it's the only other piece of employment news I think that employment data that we get until the rate decision, right? I don't think there's anything else coming out. No, I think Challengers. I don't even know if we're getting it this week. Is it this week or next week?
Let's see here. November's Thursday, we get the initial jobless claims for the week ending December 6th. But that's after the thing. Yeah. So Wednesday, delayed third quarter employment cost index, and then the FOMC rate decision. So no, I think you're right. 13. I think you're exactly right on that.
I think we got Challenger earlier this month already last week. So maybe I'm just thinking. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm just thinking out loud. Trox, here we go. Hitting 5, actually 4.99. We had a nice move there that took us over. Some of the resistance we were getting from pre-market just tapped 4.99. Looking for a close above 5. SNTI, this continues to go lower, making new lows. Looking for the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
Okay.
Curve sideways. Sorry,
I was going to say, well, I was just going to take a look at our other mover there. So here's the thing I'm thinking with X-Cur. 811 would be the drop dead point. I guess you could just use the 200 EMA, which is down there at 807. It does look like this wants to try and test VWAP again, battling with $9 right now. No position on XCUR at the moment, but this looks like this might curl up. We'll see.
Thank you, Wes. Mentioning that ATMV is halted to the upside. This is trading beneath VWAP, halted currently at 1133. VWAP's at 1271. If you look at the pre-market highs, they kind of stick out, and I'm going to draw a little trend line with those to see if, just to see what happens, to see maybe if there's something to shoot for here. I do have a level.
Now, is this the one from the after hours yesterday and the pre-market today?
No, just both pre-market highs.
Oh, so the up-sloping trend line then. Got it. Okay, just want to make sure I draw the same one on here.
No worries. Trox, here we go. Perfect. Over 511, or up to 511 now. So over $5. This is what you want to see for upside. Let me see where we're going here. And this is the one that I mentioned that we're heading to.
Yeah, really good pop.
The 200-day EMA. That's at 526, 527, that area right there. So we might go right up to that EMA and find some resistance, maybe even back off. So make sure you're paying yourself on the way up towards that EMA. I don't know if we're going to break through it or if we're going to find resistance, but I'm leaning more towards finding resistance because when you look to the left, there's a lot of consolidation here from earlier in the year that I think there's going to be a lot of sellers trying to get out of this stock.
Okay, yeah, I didn't hit Trox here. NCPL, however, that one going up towards the trend line that is still at a day high here. And actually 13, just to give you a value here, trend line, I've got it at 144. We'll probably front run that by a cent.
Yep.
So NCPL looking pretty good. That was a good call there, 13.
Thank you. Trox, we hit 518. Looks like we're getting it's backing off a little bit. So just shy of that 200 EMA on the daily. But until we lose VWAP, I don't want to say that, oh, yeah, we're turning around now. I want to see what happens here with this candle.
Let me just report back to my development team. They wanted some more feedback on what happened. And I will say that all of the chart issues that I were struggling with yesterday seem to be resolved here today. Now, NCPL is going to halt here.
Yep, it did. Great call. It just did as I turned over to it, 140. We're just 4 or 5 cents away from hitting that trend line.
Yep. We'll probably sell this and close this scalp when that opens.
Fantastic.
Bang, bang, bang. All right. Let me finish reporting to my team here.
Tiny Pie also mentioning RGTZ ripping. It certainly is. Just printed a high of 18 in the regular session. We're backing off of that. We're still above VWAP, though. VOR, this is trying to hold above the 200 EMA. We've already had one candle, the first candle here out of the gate, that dropped down to it, got some support at the 200 EMA, closed above it. We're at the next candle now, still trying to hold above it. We're putting some pretty good sized wicks on the bottom side here. That could be an indication that this is trying to turn around here. So I would want to see what happens with this candle and the next candle to get some confirmation that this is actually turning around here first before I start taking a trade.
And I'm saying, which one is this?
This is VOR.
VOR. Okay, this is the one that Marcus gave us those levels at earlier. And it does look like we're at what, 960 right here? 950? Okay, so this is entering that support level that Marcus gave. Actually, it's holding it, right? I think you had 950, Marcus. Remind me, I'm pretty sure that was it. Here we are. We're right there, and we're actually also on that 200 EMA.
Yeah, SNTI also kind of in a similar situation here, down at its 200 EMA on the 5 minute, putting in some wicks on the bottom here, might be trying to turn around. We need to see this volume hold up. We need to see some multiple closes above this 200 EMA and a movement back towards VWAP.
Okay. Apple's higher out of the gate. Tesla's higher out of the gate. Haven't seen anything unusual on the options there.
XIII might be doing something. I don't know if it is. It's been kind of sideways all morning. But we might finally be getting some volume in this. So if we do get that, look for a break over 9.
Yeah, so it looks like that initial move out of the open here was down, but the buyers did step in above the support level. So we'll see now. We're through 9 here. We'll see if we can get above 925 on XIII. Yep. I'll be honest with you. This didn't flash any buy signal. You just kind of had to buy the pullback out of the open if that's what you wanted to go with. But here we are at 9. We'll see if we get rolling and get above that VWAP. Been unable to do it this morning. We'll see if the regular session is different.
So just waiting on NCPL to unhalt. I probably have a better read on how much time we have left on that.
Yeah, I can actually take a look at that here for you. And
sorry, XIII just finally made a move up through
right to that VWAP. Stopped right at the VWAP. Can we get above it and hold above it?
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
You're fine. 938.39 was when the halt happened here on NCPL. So our 5 minute there would be 9:43.39, and our 10 minute would be 9:48.39. Those would be your resumption times.
ATMV, I think this was also halted. It's if this is one that was halted, it has resumed, trying to hold above the 5 minute or the VWAP on the 5 minute chart that I'm looking at here. Looks like looks like 490 to 15 still going to be a resistance area for this one.
The big one that made the huge move is ATMC, and that is still halted.
Yep. Still haven't seen that open in either, whether it be the pre-market or the regular session. It has not opened up yet. Looks like Brigetti or RGTZ, sorry, just blasted up through 18 up to 1837. Now we're back down testing 18 as support. And we're just waiting for some.
I actually hadn't even looked at the quantum ETFs here, but this is another good move here, 13.
Yeah, so just waiting for NCPL to unhalt, see if it gives us that trend line. And the only other one that I'm kind of looking at right now is to see what Trox does, because it did get close to that 200-day EMA and backed off, but we're still trading up here at that area. And what's interesting is that there's a large seller at 527, right in line with where that 200 EMA is.
Real quick, Jay here mentioning ticker VIK. This is Viking Holdings. They do the luxury cruises that don't allow kids, that don't have casinos on the boats. It's interesting that you brought this up here, Jay, because there is someone here at Benzinga that also was saying that this was a pretty good conviction buy for them. They thought this is going to go much higher as some of these wealthy consumers spend money on experiences. This one seems to be more palatable than Royal Caribbean or the other boats, Carnival. It's just kind of interesting here. It's actually a pretty nice chart, right? Nice little move up, nice sideways move. This actually looks like it's going to try and go higher. Jay, let me know what the trade plan is here so far. Izzy, yes, NCPL so far. I'll let you know when I close it.
Sounds like fair.
Yeah, you're not kidding, Bri. You're not kidding, Bri.
All right,
NCPL is open here, 142. Yep.
Oh man,
I'm gonna take close. It. It's coming back in a little bit.
So close to that trend line too.
Okay, so it was really close. I mean, I have it within 1 cent here. I didn't get the top there.
It's about to.
And here we go.
And there it is. Ta-da.
145. Bang. Trend line booked. Nice move, NCPL out of the gate here. I got 141 on the sale, so I actually lost it by 3 cents there, but still, that was good. Good stuff here today. Good start.
Had a pop up as high as 152. Now, maybe we do see this back off from here if it can't capture this trend line. But if it does, this is going to be support, and we're going to want to see this close above the trend line multiple times. So if that happens, that's the next thing I think we'd want to watch for. If we now, on the other hand, if this does get rejected here and we continue to trade underneath it, watch for VWAP to be support or the 125 area. If it comes back down there, I think that's going to be support. And if it holds up, we could see it round back up towards this trend line, and then the next visit might be the actual breakthrough. So that's two scenarios that could play out here.
I was just going to ask you what you thought about 122, 123, 125, basically the same price. We'll keep an eye there. Congrats, Michael, booked on that NCPL. Good stuff, really good stuff here from the group early. All right, let's flip around here real quick. BASP, or is that Babs? I can't tell. Asking how Path is doing. Let's take a look and see how Path is doing here today. A little bit of continuation from you. Not really. I guess it's trying here, but you know what? 1945. 1945. This is going to represent a resistance area yesterday in the regular session as well as the after-hour session. Then we have 1980 or maybe 1982 and 1985. Good year, 1985. It looks like maybe that here is going to be your intraday high from yesterday. Those would be targets here for Path. By the way, NCPL pulled off that spot, so whoever booked right at the resistance area, looks like the plan came together there. We'll see if we get the reload plan that 13 outlined.
All right, so yeah, NCPL still haven't been able to get back above that trend line yet, but we are holding above the VWAPs pretty nicely so far.
And take a look at XCur. We talked about that one really needing to get above and stay above its VWAP. Well, it couldn't. It was rejected by the VWAP here, and it's right back down to that buy area. Again, 808, I think, might be a support.
Still sideways, XCur. I don't know. I mean, we need to see it move over 950. I think I was pointing that out earlier in the pre-market. Still not able to do that, and the volume really seems to have fallen off too. So we'll see what ends up happening with this one. But right now, not the greatest. Not the greatest.
NCPL continues to come in there. Really, really good stuff with those levels. I'll tell you what, the trend lines are cooking, baby. Those things are absolutely cooking. By the way, Kodak here, Barry the Great mentioning Kodak hot again. Kodak's been on a multi-day winning streak here. This looking like it's extending its gains into today's session. Perhaps this will go challenge 10. I believe that this is a story trading name. I think they were talking about this last Wednesday when they were on their spot. We'll follow up with them again here tomorrow. But Kodak actually looking pretty impressive here.
SNTI is getting some support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, coming back up to VWAP. We'll see if it can get enough volume to push through that. VOR, this also right at the 200 EMA, trying to stay above it. Looks like we are, kind of consolidating here, and I'm not sure about this one right now because we are having a harder time with the 200 EMA. We need to see some volume pick up in this one if we're going to turn around and come back up. Otherwise, I think we drift lower.
Is this which one?
VOR.
VOR. Okay. I'm looking at SNTI. It looks like this traded back down to the 200 and stayed there. Let me bring up VOR before I move on to the next one here real quick. Give you the visual aid with that. This looks the same as SNTI, actually.
Pretty close, except SNTI is actually turning around. VOR hasn't really done that yet.
Okay. And then you guys were talking about Tesla here. Tesla made a pretty good move right here out of the open. This is what it looks like. So it does look like a little bit of a reversal from yesterday's pretty disappointing session. We'll see if it can get back above 444. This is where it found some support yesterday before finally giving way. And then it opened there about 448, closed that previous day up at 455. I would say all of those are probably spots. Need 5 more likes for 100. 13. We need to do a moratorium on talking and changing stocks until this number is met. Day trader, I appreciate you looking out here for us. So yeah, let's make sure we get those likes above 100 and we'll just enjoy the silent air until then.
You need some elevator music.
I was going to say, I actually, if I'm going to do this again in the future, I probably need to have some type of smooth jazz or soundtrack there that's copyright free. We'll see. Marcus saying he just got stopped out of VOR. So, Marcus, I'm highlighting that because you actually gave us a trade plan prior to the move. Would have highlighted this if it was a win as well. Appreciate you sharing that with the group here. I know that type of stuff is helpful.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a gap fill here. Because when we first made this move up in the after hours yesterday, we had a gap from about 850 all the way up to 910, 911, and we're coming down to that gap right now. And if we lose this 910 area, I think we're going to have a pretty good size move down to 850.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and vote in the poll. I'm going to remind you folks, please vote in the poll regarding letting an autonomous robo-taxi or an autonomous car of some sort drive your child to school. I think that's a very interesting question, and I appreciate the group coming up with that one. I just voted. Tracy says the Jeopardy music. Yo, if I could play that without the channel getting copyright struck, I'd probably turn that into something, but that's literally asking for trouble. VOR continuing its move to the downside here.
Yeah, it's trying not to enter the gap, but I have the suspicion it's going to happen anyway. Trox, meanwhile, this is really fighting for that VWAP right now, but we have those upper shadows that are concerning to me. So I think what would happen with Trox is if we do get that volume expansion, we'll probably nullify these upper shadows, but if we don't, we're going to lose VWAP. ATMV also trying to nullify these upper shadows here as well. Same situation. If you can't get above these wicks, it's going to lose VWAP. Same situation.
It looks like on my end here, we are above 100 likes. So I appreciate the group from doing that there. We don't ask for much, but it does help us. And we'll see how things are going forward when we get confirmation on that. Jane says, I've totaled 2 cars in a row. Maybe self-driver would be better idea for me. Yeah, Jane. I mean, we don't want to lose you here, Jane. Be careful out there. And yeah, maybe self-driving would help in that case.
That's a great sense of humor.
Jane's got a pretty good sense of humor. Jane's seen a few things, and I think as a result is funny or able to at least laugh at things, which is a really quality skill. I wish more people could do it, frankly. 13, you're really good at laughing at stuff too, and making others laugh, by the way. Tesla continuing its pump higher. See if I missed anything there on Tesla. Let me go ahead and check the news feed.
XCur trying again to push through up to the 950 area. It's just recaptured 9 in some of these levels. This might get going here. Just be careful because we saw what happened last time. Yeah. I think the volume is really going to tell the story with this one. And right now, it still doesn't seem like it's enough. VOR. This is this. I think this went underneath 9 briefly. Still think this could end up going down as low as 850 before it gets some support.
Tesla delivers its first semi-truck to DHL. I don't think that's what's driving it higher here. Well, in any case, Tesla up 0.66% here. It looks like 444 is stopping it here today. NCPL, what's interesting here on NCPL is that we were really not able to get above the trend line, but we are holding up there. So we also did not get our pullback to that 125 area that we were talking about. We might still get it here, but the longer it stays up here, I got to think we probably make another attempt at the trend line.
I mean, as long as we're, like you said, as long as we're holding up here, it's it still is viewed as generally positive for a potential upside. We just have to hold VWAP.
Yeah, and VWAP I have at 121, so we actually have a little bit more room down if it's going to hold VWAP. Buzz Lightyear here to infinity and beyond, boss. Some parents I see dropping off their kids at the elementary school should have self-driving cars because they treat it like a NASCAR pit stop. Is that where they like kind of slow down in the drop-off lane and then they kick the kid out the side, the door while the cars 5 mph roll?
ATMV is starting to get rolled higher here, trying to take out the wicks. This one moving away from VWAP. This is what you want to see. You need to get clear of 1450 though.
NCPL, that seems to be coming back into the VWAP. For all of you that sold at the resistance area, the anatomy of a trade plan right there, that type of stuff. I know sometimes when I do that, I end up missing the stock when it ends up running more. But now with NCPL coming back in here, we're looking at that thinking, gosh, I'm glad I'm not giving back some of my gains. They're really good trade again on that one. In fact, I'm going to dish a one up out there. Buzz Lightyear says, yes, they do the 5 mph roll where they boot the kid out the car. You know what I can't stand is the parents, and I don't have kids, so let me preface that, but I see this all the time. I see a car full of kids. Maybe it's their kids, maybe it's their kids and their friends, and then the parent is on the cell phone in the driver's seat. And I'm just like, that's not a good plan. Do something else, please. NCPL, by the way, it looks like we're bouncing a little bit here. So we didn't get back down to a reload level, which is actually a little bit, or did we? I might have a missing wick here. I beg your pardon. In my broker, I have a wick down to 127. That would have put us right at the 9 EMA. I did not reload. And maybe we do go back over. I don't know why I'm missing the wick there, but I do see it on my broker. Sorry, 13.
It's okay. We need to see this volume expand a lot right here over the next 5-10 minutes to get through this this trend line. I think you're right. If we do get that, it looks like Trox is still also trying to go higher. VOR trying to reverse off of 895. Still don't know that we're going to actually get back above the 200 EMA yet. Volume doesn't look great. I still have a suspicion that we go a little bit lower towards 850 first.
Okay, Izzy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, finish up. I interrupted you. It's my
I forgot what I was going to say.
Damn it. Okay, that's a nice way out of that. Izzy wants to take a look at IREN here. Excuse me, let's do that. Okay, so IREN trading up here. Isn't it the daily chart that looks a little bit more interesting? Okay. Yes, as a matter of fact. So IREN looks like it's trying to carve out this sideways area here. I've got this range between 40 and 50. We're near the top end of the range. I would say a $50 breakout here is probably what we're looking for. You're saying there's news here on IREN. Let's check it out.
First thing I need to see here, and I'm looking at a daily chart. We're right at the 20-day SMA. That value is 47.32. I'd like to see the price start trading over that, but I think if we get that, 50 is definitely next.
Okay, IREN here had news after the close yesterday. It closed its $2.3 billion convertible notes offering and repurchase of existing convertible notes. That's what's driving it higher here by just shy of 2%.
Also seems to be a little bit of a squeeze, not necessarily meeting our parameters, but 21% of the float shorted, only 1.2 days to cover. A little bit of a squeeze, but not a massive one, really.
Yeah, and Jay here mentioning IREN and CoreWeave both caught a bid. We actually had a gentleman in happy hour yesterday saying that they bought the CoreWeave dip yesterday. Here's what the CoreWeave chart looks like. The dip yesterday was fairly significant. And actually today, this is not terrible action. I think if this probably goes and tests 90 if it pops above this pre-market high, which is just near $88. CoreWeave doesn't look like it wants to necessarily break down and challenge that $80 low. I can't remember where Dugan ended up adding this yesterday. Maybe he didn't say, but just said he bought the dip yesterday. Maybe we get a little bit more continuation there. APLD being asked about in the chat. I didn't get to APLD with our guest Adam Mesh here this morning. He did a really good job trading this one. APLD, this is obviously on the data center play. This is up just shy of 2% here. This actually doesn't look bad here, APLD. 35, I would say, is your next resistance area.
NCPL still holding above VWAP. I have VWAP at 132. It might be different from yours.
Let me bring it up here and let's take a look. NCPL. Boy, I tell you what, big time shout out to our team yesterday. Again, the chart issue was our data provider was having an upstream issue. That's what caused our stuff to go out. Again, we are building a redundancy plan, but really good stuff from our team to fix whatever ailed them yesterday. Here we go on NCPL. Looks like it's going to try and test that trend line again.
It's trying to push through all those sellers all the way up to 150.
There it goes. There's through the trend line. Here's 150.
Yeah, they're trying to hit
it right now. I'm not in it for this round.
That is a big. They just took it, and now they're going to halt.
151 halt if it holds.
It's going to halt. Nope. They took that out too, so we're still going. Or maybe they halted here now.
I'll take a look here in my broker and yeah, this is halted here, 151.
Okay, now I got it halted in my broker now. All right.
Yep, halted.
Cool. There's that trend line again.
The trend lines, man, they have been fantastic. Tesla, by the way, continuing 444. It looks like it's going to test that here. If it gets through it, we'll see.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure if it's going to get through it.
With NCPL halted, there's going to be attention being diverted to another name. So it's got to figure out which one that is. Maybe it's VOR because that's still trying to turn around, although I'm not sure about that. Trox could be another one that they hit after the NCPL. I don't know about SNTI, maybe ATMV. And we're also getting some movement with WVE after it dropped down to 1790. I don't know if this is going to recapture VWAP, but it's back up there again. So those would be some of the ones that they could go after if they're looking for some of the crack trades.
I'm seeing Rocket here on the unusual options scanner. Rocket, some call buying here to the upside. This again was another trade taken yesterday by several happy hour members just for a move higher into the FOMC decision tomorrow. I know there was some confusion about that. Meeting starts today, decisions tomorrow. It looks like that trade was just to possibly trade up on the anticipated rate cut that we're getting here. Rocket up by about 0.25%. Not a whole lot going on yet. Tesla, Lion here saying Tesla looks good. I go short 455, but now Tesla looks bullish and may continue to run up. So Lion, how are you trading that? If you were waiting for a short, are you flipping and going bullish, or are you waiting for a specific level to actually buy it? Maybe you said that and I just missed it. I'm just trying to get a clearer idea there. By the way, the market does look like it's turning around here. Dow really kind of led the way higher. That's pulling off a little bit. SPY went red to green. NASDAQ actually looking like it's flashing a possible red to green move as we speak. NASDAQ Qs here down 0.12%.
One thing about Tesla that I see on the daily chart is that Wednesday last week, we had a breakout through the 50-day SMA after it spent a good portion of November underneath it. And yesterday we tested the 50-day SMA as support. So we're also getting it tested as support today. I'd like to see it get back above 450 because if it can't, I think it's going to end up testing the 50-day SMA for a third day in a row tomorrow if we're still trading underneath 450.
Okay, good stuff there. Kathy saying AXTI. I'm going to guess that this is my serious trial is ending. No wonder they've been calling me every day for the past 3 days.
Oh, yeah, they want your money, don't they?
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Like, Sirius was good, but I don't want to pay for it. I already pay for Spotify. I use that so much more. Anyway, all right, here, AXTI. Sorry, Kathy, I got distracted there. I'll try not to do that again.
ATMP. New session highs. It's trying to go towards the 1641 pre-market high. We also have a trend line here with this one. I don't know that we're going to get all the way up to the trend line. That would be from right here. It would be up above 20, like 2250 almost. But this is getting some volume, so we'll see if how well this moves. We're also seeing some upside movement here in VOR. It's trying to get back up towards the 200 EMA on the 5-minute in order to recapture it, but I think we need to see better volume than what it's giving us right now.
AXTI here, this is up 9.5%. Kathy, let me know what kind of target you have on this one, if anything. Take a look at the daily chart, see if I can't figure that out just from looking at it. Boy, we are in a huge breakout here. AXTI. Kathy, let me know what you got on this one. Levels wise, where you're looking for it to go. This is actually a nice break. Nice little dip and rip there too. C1, someone was mentioning this earlier. It might have been Izzy. I don't have any. I don't even know what this is. Clearwater. What is that? Clearwater Analytics. What does this do? So this popped, dropped, and looks like it's reclaiming VWAP here. Let me see what this does, Izzy. I'm not familiar with this.
So the JOLTS job openings came out, and it's sending. Looks like the market's reacting to it by trading higher.
Yep.
So job openings for September was 7.658 versus the 7.2 estimate, so above estimates. Job openings for October doesn't say what the estimate was, but 7.67 All the kids at home are going crazy. I don't. Yeah, I don't know what to make of the October jobs numbers, since I don't know what the estimate was, but might have been higher than the estimates as well.
I gave you the hand motion there for 6-7 just to complete it. The circle is now complete.
Yeah.
Data-driven analytics leveraging institutional areas. Yeah, go ahead.
NCPL open, gapped up 162. Now the high of this regular session.
Hey.
And it looks like we're going to try and go higher here. Now, when this comes back down, because I expected it will, this trend line is going to be viewed as a support area. So when we come back down here, that's what we're going to want to see out of it.
Okay, Izzy, you were saying here on this one, this indeed, I do see this news here. So C1 bought 5% stake taken by Starboard, excuse me. They took a stake here in Clearwater Analytics. So they must have much higher target here. Starboard's pretty good too.
Trox looking like this is about to start. Well, it's starting to roll over, losing the VWAP and some of the shorter term EMAs, the 9 and the 15. This is beneath it's one of the support areas I was looking at. We're coming down to some sideways consolidation just before the pre-market. That's going to be the next area of support around 465. So if we lose 465, I think that I'd say 450, but I'd like the 65 EMA better than 450. But 465 next support area on the way down here for TROX. And it looks like, as was mentioned here by Peter, VOR is trying to turn around here. It looks like it's coming back up, still beneath the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Still need some volume to get through that, but keep an eye on it because we might get some of that volume.
Bharat here mentioning that the Mag 7 is lagging. NVIDIA would be the one that I would go to first there in the Mag 7 because obviously they popped yesterday on the news of the H200 chips being sold to China. Look at this. They gave everything back. Now, I did report this morning here that China is going to try and not use those. In fact, you've got to go fill out forms to explain why you cannot use a domestically made chip and want to use the H200 chip. We talked about that here this morning. NVIDIA gave back that entire pop that it saw yesterday in the after hours. Maybe it holds here and turns around, but as Bharat's mentioning here, that Mag 7 weak and the NASDAQ the weakest of the three indices here today.
I'm just waiting for something to set up here. So VOR pulling back a little bit as kind of was expected. Need to see better volume if we're going to recapture the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. XCur, this thing is just still going sideways. But NCPL hitting a new high of 171, kind of backing off from that right now. Now, remember, if this does back off here, we're going to want to see support from the trend line that we drew. Don't see a whole lot else that's looking interesting right now.
Let me ask you a hypothetical here. What if we get a back test and hold of the trend line NCPL? Is that a long? For a scalp?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it could be. I mean, if because we were looking at this as a resistance area, we were getting resistance from there. And once a resistance area level is broken and it's back tested and we get buyers stepping in, that becomes support. So if we do come back to this trend line, we're going to want to see it hold up there. Maybe it trades slightly beneath it, but we generally want to see it close above this trend line. And that's going to be an indication that we are getting support from it. We could end up going higher. If that happens, let's see, where are some targets? Earliest one's going to be somewhere between 180 and 185. And if we get through that, there's a lot of consolidation to chew through from basically 175 all the way up to 250. So could be a lot of back and forth between 175 and 250 if we manage to recapture that 65-day EMA.
Okay. IREN did pop a little bit higher there, 47.85, your high print, although it's backing off the high. I do have VWAP down there, 46.67. We'll see if it holds, if it comes back down to VWAP. Haven't really seen anything else interesting in the options market yet. I'll keep you posted if I do.
Santa Rally will start soon, but probably not after not until after the rate decision.
And not until after Christmas. Remember, we
Yeah.
did. I literally brought on the son of the guy that came up with the Santa Rally last year around Christmas to explain and put the final nail in the coffin on when the dates for the Santa Rally are. No Santa Rally starts before Christmas.
So now the SPY is selling off following the jobs report, the JOLTS jobs report print. Went as high almost to 685 before we backed off here. Now we're testing 684 as support. Trox trying to recapture VWAP. It's making its way towards there. Volume needs to be a little bit better, but it's not looking bad. ATMV, this is trying to get some support from VWAP. I don't know about that one. We are also looking at WVE from yesterday. This is back up to almost where the price opened at this morning. VOR still kind of drifting lower. Still think that maybe 850 is where you get better support if it gets down there. XCur, what do you know? Still going sideways. NCPL, trying to figure out what to do next.
You think we get another wild day here in WVE if it takes out these pre-market highs?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me look at something real quick here. Let me see if I can figure out what happens with this. So if this does come back up and recapture the pre-market high of 2097, I think I'd lean on the highs that we were putting in the regular session and after hours yesterday as a trend line. And that would take the price up to in the 22 handle, like around 2230. If it were to go up right now at this stage. So 2250 maybe we could peg as a target if it gets the volume, but it's going to need a lot of volume to get back up there. And it's, I don't know if we're going to get that in the morning, maybe the afternoon. We'll see. I don't want to make any promises like, oh yeah, this thing's going up.
Sure.
But at least we have something to shoot for here, a potential trend line that it to be honest, we should have seen it tested here in the pre-market, but it only went up to 2097. So that may indicate that it's probably not going to hit the trend line.
WBuy, this is WeBuy. This is one of the big movers yesterday. Yep, I know. This is one of the big movers yesterday. What a difference a day makes as that gets absolutely shellacked today. And this is below where it opened yesterday. Is he mentioning Kodak? We had a recent filing on Friday that really kind of drove Kodak. Let me see if I can find that here for you. Kodak's basically right around where it opened.
Easy Java Man saying that WVE can go much higher. Then let's get some volume to push through this sideways area from about 1975 to 2050. We get through that, then I think my tune would change, pretty much on if we can see that happen. But until it does, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. But let's just see what happens here. Because I didn't necessarily say that it's definitely not going to happen. I just don't like the way where the volume is right now. And I don't think that with this current volume, we're going to see that move going higher. But let's see what happens in the afternoon.
Brian would like everyone to know that Christmas will mark the 2-year anniversary where he sold Palantir at 8. I'm sorry, Bri. I'm sorry about that.
I'm glad you have a sense of humor about it.
Me too. I'm glad you're not the guy coming in here saying you should be shorting it from 8 to 109 or whatever it was. Yeah. Glad you have a sense of humor about it. Big lump of coal. By the way, Christmas gift ideas for any of your friends that can take jokes. You can buy a bar of soap that's called a big lump of coal. And you can literally give that to them. Be careful, because if you start giving your friends soap, they might think, boy, am I doing something wrong here? What's going on? But in any case, I just thought that was rather entertaining. It's a nice little white elephant gift for folks.
There was a mention, Easy Java Man was mentioning EVAX, and this is up 8% right now. It's moving on.
EVAX, you said?
Yeah, it's moving on some new data for one of its drugs, EVX04. Looks like it doesn't seem like it has very good liquidity, but it is going higher.
I'd like to see more volume now.
Yeah. if this does go up, there's a good chance that we see 10. No guarantee, but I think there's a good chance, because I'm looking at the daily chart, and it seems like this does have moves that lead it up to $10. Maybe not in one day, but over the course of a couple days. So we'll see what ends up happening here. But as soon as we get up to that level, we sell.
Okay. Jay here saying lots of chop, not uncommon into a Fed day. Jay, you have any trade ideas lined up for the Fed decision tomorrow? Maybe you're legging into them today. Maybe you're just adding things to your watch list. Do you have any idea of what you're going to trade tomorrow? Or are you basically just going to react to whatever you see?
All right. VOR 940 right now. Still trying to recapture that 200 EMA.
Refresh Pro, get myself a little bit better latency here.
TROX.
DA Davidson rumor on a buyout C1 30 to 34. Okay, that's probably popping it. Let me go ahead and load this back in here, Izzy. We'll take a look at that. Sorry, 13. I didn't mean to run you over there.
So, all right, TROX came down near the 65 EMA. It hit a low of 452 and had a little bit of a bounce, but still not recapturing levels. So I don't know that we're going to necessarily turn around here. We could still go lower.
Izzy, tweet me that rumor on Davidson. I don't see it yet here in the news feed. It might just be that it's not confirmed, but tweet me that if you wouldn't mind.
You're 15 minutes away from when we really do get a exodus of volume out of the market. So we'll see what we end up getting in these next 15 minutes.
Iron 50 calls getting bought here. Actually, the 4650s, the 4750s, and the 50s all bought here. You know what? We might ask Anne Marie about IREN today.
NCPL, new session highs, 176.
Yep. Actually, I was just going to say, it looks like this is going to pop a little bit higher here.
And it looks like that's really the only one that's doing a whole lot right now. It's halted, actually.
Yep. Halted at that 176 pop.
Yep.
Okay. Tesla, maybe that's above 444. Maybe Tesla tries and moves higher.
Looks like VOR is testing the 200 EMA now that it's trying to recapture. So if we get some more volume here that takes us back above it, then we might have something on our hands with VOR.
Let's see anything else interesting here after those iron sweeps.
Yep. Nothing really looking too spectacular. iBio having a good day, though. That's up 38%.
ENPH out of the money call buy here. Trader swept up 1,200 of the 35 calls that expires the January 35 contract. Expiration January, 35 strike price. Trader swept up 1,200 of them, spent 170K on that trade. Here's what Enphase looks like. This is actually in an uptrend here. We've talked about solar kind of coming more into play here. Maybe this chart's bottom. That's an interesting bet.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I have on the U.S. battery list. They make batteries, but they're also make other solar equipment. So for the side of solar farms that are springing up every month in the U.S., this could be a good one. And I think rate cuts are going to help out quite a bit with this company. And it doesn't look like it's really a bad company at all. I mean, yeah, it's got debt, but it's it's profitable. But
to your point here about solar companies, if the rising rate cutting cycle should absolutely benefit this. This is the beginning of the cycle. This one might also be impacted by whatever they talk about tomorrow, right? And by the way, 13, while we're having that discussion, I think we both kind of think that this is going to be a cut. That's what the market's priced in. Yes. We kind of think there's a cut coming. So really it comes down to what is their tone for future cuts? Right. What does 2026 look like? And I think that some of the solars are going to respond to that because they're generally higher as rates go down.
Yeah. So one, like you're saying, what we're going to want to watch for after the rate decision is announced is what is the tone of the Fed and particularly Powell when he's speaking. Does he, did he flat out say that there's more rate cuts coming next year? Before his tenure's over, or is he done and he's pretty much a lame duck until he's replaced in May? So that's going to be something we're going to definitely want to listen for. What his tone is, if he sounds dovish or hawkish. That's going to matter going forward, because I think the market pretty much has this locked in for a rate cut.
Yeah, I agree with you there. By the way, poll results are in. Would you trust a self-driving car to bring your kids to school? 69% of you said no. 31% of you said yes. So it looks like, at least amongst our group, self-driving adoption, not yet palatable for transportation of children.
But we're warming up, it seems like.
Seems like it. You know what, producer? This might be something that we might revisit this exact poll again in January, maybe on like a monthly or maybe even a quarterly basis. We should keep doing that poll.
Yeah, Crim Biscuit. I mentioned iBio a little while ago, like about 4 or 5 minutes ago. That still making new session highs, 244 now. Looks like you're getting some support from in the 230s, but there's a large seller on the way at 250. We're going to need to see a big volume expansion to get through that guy. 31% bad parenting. That's funny.
Sorry, those spammers are getting a little creative there. Let's see what else we got here.
Let's see. Okay, so maybe ATMV, if we can get some more volume. Although I don't like the price action right now. We're still underneath VWAP for the what's going to be like the 15th minute now. I not feeling great about this, but still not breaking down. So maybe, but not feeling great about it. SNTI still kind of sideways following the drop out of the market this morning. TROX making some new session lows. We're coming down to the 65 EMA. VOR getting rejected at the 200 EMA after it was trying to recapture it. So let's see if we end up going lower down towards 850 like I thought we would. NCPL, this is unhalted, putting in a new session high of 184. Now we're just back filling this gap here that was created from that halt. Let's see if that can continue to hold up and push higher.
9 EMA, I tell you what, we talked about this a little bit. That 9 EMA pullback, that has been the reload level here at NCPL. I only hit that once today.
And we're coming up to, okay, so right now, NCPL just hit the 65-day EMA. Let's see if it can push through it or if we're going to get a rejection. All right. What else is
Jane, I'm with you on that. Jane says I'm a germaphobe and pretty much avoid public anything. Yeah, I do too. Videos of people getting stabbed and assaulted doesn't help either.
TRX trying to get some support, and we might be. Oh, you know what? NCPL is getting the price walked down. If volume expands, it'll take out the guy that's walking it down, but it was getting walked down there just a moment ago.
IREN pulled back, lost the VWAP as well. IREN chart looks similar to Trox here.
That was a funny comment there.
Which one?
The one from producer.
Oh, about 6-7 being indicative of brain rot. I'll be honest with you guys. Like I'm totally fine playing the game here. I have no idea what it means. So before anyone gets offended or has conniptions or a coronary event, just understand this is just part of like the hip zeitgeist here. I have no idea what it means. Literally has no meaning from what I understand.
Anything. Yeah. End phase, just kind of watching this. We're pushing up a little bit higher right now, trying to hit 32. Really
Kathy saying possible takeover target here, SVRA. Kathy, is that a rumor or something?
SVRA, what do they do? Biotech?
Granted a European patent covering the drug device combination delivered via proprietary eFlow nebulizer system. Paid for shares with tax at 637. Kathy, I don't know. You seem to be way more up on these biotechs. Does this represent a possible takeover target? And who would be the acquirer in that case? This has been a really great trade since the summer. I just watched the 6-7 South Park. It all makes sense now. That's what I've been doing wrong, day trader. I just needed to watch South Park.
South Park will explain everything.
I mean, for real.
I don't know about Savara being a takeover target. I mean,
BRB 1 sec 13.
I would need to like, look more into their devices. I mean, if it is going to be a takeover target, like who's going to take over, and probably be another one of the medical device companies. We are getting into an environment where we could see a lot more M&A activity. We've already started to see a lot of M&A activity already. I don't know that this is necessarily going to be one of those. I would have to get those first two questions answered first. Why would anybody be interested in taking over this company? And then who would be taking over this company? Those would be my first two questions. Doesn't seem like they really are starving for capital right now. They do lose about 30 million every quarter, but they've got 16 million in cash. They've got 108 in short terms. I think they just had an offering not too long ago. Let's see here. Looks like they had an offering and then they had earnings. So we should have an up-to-date balance sheet. So I don't know what the appeal would be for a takeover here. I don't know enough about their medical devices. Anyway, looking back at some of these other names, NCPL is coming back in, and it looks like we're about to halt to the downside.
Oh.
So that 65-day EMA. I mean, if you go to the NCPL,
got it.
Go to a daily chart.
Got it.
Do you have a 65 EMA on there?
I do. 65 EMA at 184. It looks like that's exactly where the price went.
Yeah.
And look at the volume candle today. Not insignificant volume candle today. Look at this. That was right to it, 13.
It's right to it. So that was one of the reasons I was mentioning that 185 area, because he had that 65 EMA. Maybe we get a pullback. Certainly that happened. And we're halted to the downside. So what's next? That trend line. And maybe there's some support just before that, but the VWAP and the trend line are really close to each other. I think that if we are going to get any support, it's going to be there. If we lose that, probably going to be done until later this afternoon. Maybe the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart provides support. Look at VOR. Now we're starting to get another attempt at the recapture of the 200 EMA. Let's see if we can get back above it cleanly and maybe even go to 10. Large seller in a way at 978. So we're going to need to see some big volume to get through that guy.
JJ, we got asked this the other day here real quick, and I'll be honest with you, I wish I had a better answer. Maybe 13 does. JJ's asking, what is the significance / importance of the 65 EMA? So the 65 EMA is something that I control C and control V from another trader. In fact, you folks might know him. If you guys all remember Andy from Mighty Soldiers Trades, he's joined us on here a few times. Great guy, former veteran, or a veteran, I should say, former veteran. Really good trader, really sharp, loves trading the momentum names, even if they're junk. He's very, very good at it. And one of the indicators he talked about was, in fact, the 65 EMA. The more I watched, especially the intraday charts, I spend a lot of time on the 5-minute, but the 15-minute too. The more I watch the intraday charts, the more I realize that this EMA level, for whatever reason, gets interacted with a lot. And I said, well, if this is going to be a mile marker that tells me how to do things, I'm going to add it to my chart there. Andy does a good job, might as well. Now, if there's some meaning about what that time frame actually means, I'm not sure what it is. I just know that it works.
Yeah, primarily it works, but it's also one of those EMAs that's it's larger than the short term EMAs and smaller than the longer term ones like the 200 or the 100. So it's kind of in that sweet spot. There's a lot of other. It's one that don't necessarily want to use alone, works absolutely phenomenally with VWAP.
Yeah.
So I think the bottom line is it works, but there are other mathematical and psychological reasons why the 65 EMA also works.
Okay. Anne-Marie uses the 63 SMA. Day trader saying, do we need to back test the 67 EMA? Day trader, in the words of the immortal Jean-Luc Picard, make it so, buddy. Make it so. Let us know with that back test. You see what I did there? See how we do? That's called delegation right there. Also, Kathy saying, regarding SVRA, Betaville blog mentioned it as a potential target. Seeking Alpha also reported it. This is good stuff. When some of these outlets like Betaville or Seeking Alpha mention possible takeover targets, none of it's a guarantee, but a lot of these do end up working out, and this is valuable. So there are other people out there digging into this, think this is a potential takeover target. Chart looks good on that.
Yeah, and I guess I haven't read those articles, but I'd be curious to know if there's any companies they think are going to be trying to take that over.
Yeah, I would want to know the acquiree too. Yeah. Who's actually doing that?
Yeah, who's sniffing around for a deal there for their medical devices, whatever they've got. TROX, by the way, trying to turn around after testing. What is that? Why don't you go ahead and tell me, Ryan? I'm not sure if my old eyes can see what that
I think this looks to me like the 65 EMA. I'll be damned.
Sorry, I'm being such a dick about it, but I just had to.
I don't think anyone's offended here. In fact, I see some laughter out there. Anne-Marie says moving averages are a measure of preference of style. In my opinion, it is my opinion that there is no hard and fast lines on which MA to use. I would completely concur with Anne-Marie here. Though my whole thing with moving averages is it's been, we were talking about pattern recognition. In fact, we had a gentleman yesterday come up with a pattern that he noticed on AI, ticker AI. And I was like, I'm all about patterns because those continue to repeat themselves. One of the things that I noticed is that the moving average lines, there were several of them that work better. And when I'm taking a long-term view, I like to use the simples. The 50, the 200 really seem to be the top two ones, but the 9 SMA also one that works pretty well there. One of the other things that I'll say about moving averages is it gives me an idea of an area, not necessarily a specific point or level, but an actual area on where that stock might change its direction. And I've used it successfully for that.
All right, so we have VOR testing that area where that seller is. He's moved up to 981. They're trying to hit it right now. So if we get enough volume, we might see a break through that seller. That would take us up to the 65 EMA at 1028.
I thought you were going to say the 65 EMA at something 67, and I was about to lose it. Nope. There, but okay. Really quickly here, Izzy says 13. This is a family show, so if you would please use Richard instead, that would be helpful. Okay. And Anne-Marie, I'm just kidding, and especially to all the Richards out there. Anne-Marie here saying the moving averages, that is a broad temperature reading, not a matter of extreme precision, and I too would agree with that. I actually like former price levels as precision points in time. It seems Mark Petrino likes that as well. Cell's asking, does anyone have an opinion on PayPal? Yes, I like the product. I've used the product for a long time. I really, really want to love the stock, but the stock keeps telling me that I'm an idiot and that it doesn't like me, because every time I think that this stock's going to trade higher, maybe break out from 75, which is this horizontal blue line, it gets smacked back down, sometimes with the quickness the day after. To me, I'll tell you what, we are doing with PayPal here. We're doing a really good job holding these lows here, 57 to 60, just talking about our area there as a set of precision points there. It's doing an all right job holding this, but man, the stock is having a lot of trouble getting out of its way. I would love to trade this long. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be that takes us and holds us above 75. We've talked about increasing competition here, possibly weighing on PayPal. This has been a tough one. There's no question about it. I like it, but it hasn't been profitable.
So for me, when it comes to PayPal, one thing that I can see right away is that this is having a hard time recapturing the 20-day SMA. So it's kind of like riding the underside of the 20-day SMA down. And until we recapture that 20-day SMA, down is where I think this continues to go. So based on the way the price action's been since the middle of November, it looks to me like it's setting up to drop beneath $60 at some point. How low that goes, I'm not 100% sure, but I could see 57 being tested if we lose that $60 level.
Okay. Lion here says 58 he's buying. That 57 looks good from the chart. Lion thinks this is bottoming soon. It's been sideways forever. So this is I'll just leave it at this. This has been a tough one. I've actually made a couple of trades on this, but they just haven't worked. I still would like to try it here. I'll let you know if I do. Well, also one more swing trade that I haven't really talked about a whole lot, but I do want to mention here. AS, this was Amer Sports. This is the parent company of that Arc'teryx brand. I know it was real rough here as it was kind of coming into this trend line here, but the recapture of the 20 looks like our 50-day is kind of curling up. It didn't really death cross. It actually kind of looked like it held on the same level there. Maybe technically it is the death cross 13, but it looks like it's kind of holding here. I'll be honest with you. This chart, to me, this sure looks like this is going to 40. And oh, by the way, March 40 calls was the position that I took here and added to. So we're in profit on this one. I will exit. I will go for the exit door here on partial. If the stock prints 40, I'll hold the remaining half in case there's a breakout, and then I'll stop back out of that on 40. Trade's got to be wrapped up by March, hoping that the Christmas season or the winter season here ends up driving this thing higher. We'll see. Sean, you had asked me to contact me. I did give you my email. I never got an email from you. I will say it might be my fault because we've got some spam filters here that wreak havoc with my inbox when some people email me. So let me know if you sent that out. I have not. I have not gotten the email for you. AS trade looking great right now. Jay, I'm all about it. And this is why I selected March initially on this, because I wasn't sure that this trade was going to materialize before the holiday. So I wanted to give it another quarter past the holiday. Giddy up. Looks like it's working here. Hopefully we're able to make some money off that.
So Lion, I think I know the answers. I mean, I have my own answers, but you're talking about picking up fertilizer companies. And I'm wondering, because I think they're going to be good next year. But they're yes, they are been beaten down. But I think
in fact, isn't that the biggest loser in the S&P? A fertilizer stock? I'll check. You keep going. I'll check. I'll check for you.
So I'm wondering. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Russia's been in a war, because they make up like 15% of the entire global fertilizer market. So I'm wondering if there's an end to this war soon. Is that part of the catalyst as to why fertilizer could get going, or is it something else? Let me know.
And to your point here, FMC is the worst performing SPY component of 2025. It is down 73.22% year to date in 2025. Indeed, this is what the chart looks like here. So this is interesting. If you guys think that this has been beaten down severely this year and this might make for possible up move next year, tell you what, the FMC chart here has some pretty clear lines, right? You can get back above this 14.5, maybe call it 15. Then we have a possible gap entry here at 21. Gap fills up there at 29. You actually have some pretty good targets here, moving averages aside, if this does turn around in 2026. Also worth noting while I'm on this list, ENPH, third worst performing SPY component of 2025. We just talked about rate cutting cycle, possibly helping out solars, and this also being a possible 2026 play. Not bad.
So
healthcare, Chipotle also on there. Sorry, 13.
And Marie, Ukraine is one of the largest fertilizer producers in the world. I think they're even bigger on the agricultural side. Not that fertilizer isn't agriculture, but they producers of wheat and some other agricultural products that I can't think of right off the top of my head. I think, yes, Putin absolutely does want those resources. I think that's the whole gambit here is that if we get this Ukraine-Russia war resolved, that a lot of these agricultural names and their inputs get some relief. And they start moving back up.
Hey,
Europe, exactly.
Hey, check this out. Hey, look at the assist from the chat. Samel mentioning AS here, although primarily owned by the Chinese conglomerate of Anta Sports. Kathy with the hammer from the top rope. Wall Street Journal article specifically mentioned Arc'teryx being owned by AS and how China is gobbling up their clothes at a 20% markup over U.S. prices. Your boy was early on that. Let's effing go. I will take that. Let's get some carry through here. Get some 40 plus prints, ticker AS. That would be awesome. Kathy, I didn't even see that. Appreciate you. In fact, where's my one up? Bang.
Here's some more upside with VOR. Looking for that 65 EMA. It's actually looking for $10 right now, as long as it holds above the 200 EMA. But we've recaptured the 200 EMA. Looking for the third close above it. If we get that, there's a good chance we're going to hit that 65 EMA and then maybe even the VWAP afterwards. Meanwhile, let's look at some of these other names. X-Curve.
The guy is whistling again. BRB 13.
Okay. NCPL. How about this? After we hit that 65 EMA on the daily, turned around, came right back down to VWAP on the 5-minute chart, getting some support from there and the trend line. If we're going to get this to go higher, it's got to turn around here, I think. Otherwise, if we start closing underneath this trend line and the VWAP, we are going to go lower. And then the 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart is going to be an interesting spot for support after that. All right. So
okay, sorry about that, 13.
No worries. I am just kind of looking around and seeing what looks good at the moment. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to really look at. We were just mentioning NCPL, how that came right back to the VWAP. Now it's losing VWAP here. So let's see if this current candle can manage to hold above it. Might be reversing if it does. Otherwise, 65 EMA next to big support area to the downside.
AI here. This was the ticker I was just kind of talking about regarding the pattern that the trader in Happy Hour had uncovered. I don't want to speak to his pattern because he did some work on that I don't fully get. So I don't just want to regurgitate it and make it less sharp than the way he presented it yesterday. But nonetheless, this little bit of carry through here, plus 3.63%. AI stock has given up its prior gain. They were trading higher if the company said the U.S. Army selected it to advance their AI-driven logistics to improve operational readiness. So that popped it in the pre-market. We went lower, but higher we go now. And we actually took that high out. Kev, take care of yourself. Good stuff. Good to see you.
Take care. Now,
President Xi actually wears Arc'teryx jackets. Now that I did. Kathy, you are a wealth of information here today, and I absolutely love it.
AI is going to have to recapture the 50-day SMA if we're going to see this this upside.
What value do you have for that?
1644.
Okay.
And after that, if that level gets recaptured and we start closing above it, 18 and 20 are the next two big resistance areas that I see. And as soon as if we do get up to 20, I could see a situation where we end up backing off from that. So just keep that in mind if we end up trading up that high to $20 over the course of, gosh, I don't know how many days. Just keep that $20 level in mind. We have the 200-day SMA bearing down towards that level. So by the time we get up to 20, we could be also meeting the 200-day SMA, and it could reject the price. So just some things to watch for there with AI.
Another SPAC attack going on here. AFJK is your ticker. Let me go ahead and put the watermark back on the chart here so that's easier for you folks to see. This is a good mention. I know several of you folks had mentioned this earlier. We didn't really get to it. This thing has been a halt fest. This thing has been halted 8 times. It is actually currently halted in its 8th halt, this one to the upside. Looks like we had a high print in the after hours yesterday at about 29 and change. I have no idea what this is.
Oh, I'll find out.
Let's see here. Yeah, so no news there other than the halt stuff. This is a SPAC, just a blank check company SPAC attack.
It's merging with United Hydrogen Group. It's a Chinese hydrogen solution company. They are expected to, well, I don't know. We don't have a whole lot of time left in this year, so we'll see. But yeah, that's who they're merging with.
Okay.
Hydrogen. There you go.
Okay.
And they extended the M&A. So
yeah, so I'm not on this one. Billy's saying it's got room on the daily, so this sounds like a chart play here for Billy. Let me go to the daily here. We'll take a look and see what that looks like. I tell you what, this I mean, if you say so. The range from this enormous candle here is up to 41, so maybe it does a repeat of that craziness. I don't like banking on that for the trade plan, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's just say that if we do get that to happen, like it did on the 6th of November, just keep in mind what happened the very next day. So probably not one you'd want to stick around in if this goes like into the 30s and 40s. Just saying. Meanwhile, let's see what. Oh, look at this NCPL. So we're getting some support from that VWAP there and the trend line. Let's see if it turns around. Holy cow! It's fantastic how wonderful the trend line is.
Oh my gosh!
Today.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is 13.
All right, so there's that one. VOR, it's still holding above the VWAP, but volume seems to be waning. TROX, this did go down to the 65 EMA, and now it's going sideways, trying to get some footing. If this does, then we're going to want to see some recaptures of these smaller EMAs, the 9 and the 15. But the big level I think we need to get clear next is going to be 475 before we hit VWAP. ATMV, look at this support at 65 EMA. That's like, if you remember Pee-wee's Playhouse, whenever they had the word of the day.
I don't remember that. Sorry.
Everybody went ape shit. So I'm sorry. Everyone went ape poop. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the word of the day with some of these. Like 65 EMA seems to be the word of the day right now.
Can you imagine if they did one more episode and they're like, their word of the day is 6-7?
I think you're more into that right now than a lot of. Even
I'm playing off the vibes of the chat. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing off the vibes. We're vibing out here. By the way, IREN, Izzy, you had mentioned IREN earlier on its push back up. That thing lost the VWAP, but the dip buyers brought right back in here. We are at the highs, possible break higher here on IREN. I think it probably goes to 50.
And then, I see TROX. It's trying to get back up there. It's currently dealing with some of those smaller EMAs and the sideways consolidation that led into the open. So good to need to see some good volume in order to get through that, more than what we're getting right now. SNTI, this thing is done. This thing went right back down to the lows of yesterday.
Did we get any more robot news? Serve spiking here. I'm also seeing call flow in on the back of this. In fact, one of these is fairly significant. Another 1,200 contracts there. Trader spent $332,000. Let's see if we got any news here on Serve. And I would also check RR to see if that is responding.
I haven't looked at Serve in several days. This just broke through a trend line that I drew back from earlier this year. If you look at the highs from January and February, just draw a trend line through that. You can see how the price has reacted to that later on this year in September and now recently just this month. So let's see here. If there's going to be more upside in Serve, 16 looks like a big spot for resistance.
Okay. I don't see any news on the robotic stuff. I know we got the political headline last week. Stocks pulled back after that, but AFJK is about to resume. We'll see. RDAC. Is this even worth looking at? RDAC.
There was some news yesterday regarding SoftBank and NVIDIA. They're in talks to back a major new funding round for a fast-growing robotics artificial intelligence company. They're negotiating to invest in Skilled AI, SKILD. So I don't think it's public. But if it does go through, if this deal does go through, that would the valuation would triple from the $4.7 billion it secured earlier this year during a $500 million Series B round.
Okay. Looks like AFJK is going to be a 10-minute halt here. Looks like we missed that 5-minute threshold, so we can check back in.
It's interesting, too, because this article also mentions that iRobot, Serve, and Rich Tech and Tesla rose as Lutnick met with the CEOs to push up this speed in the industry growth. So there's a real push here for robotics, and I think this is going to be a big theme next year. And all the components we were talking about, the sensors, the cameras, the servos, that's all going to be big. So we need those companies, folks. We need to have those companies ready
Picks
to
and
go.
shovels trade. Thing behind the thing. 13 is absolutely right.
Yep. That's what we want to be focused on for next year. All right. So next resistance on serve, says G-Man, is at 1430. Look at that.
And XCUR, this really didn't do much of anything. Now, it isn't breaking down, so I give it credit for that, but boy, it hasn't really given us a move. I know we're looking for movers here today. Ondas at the highs here, 940. That's that nice little ramp.
So that 1430, are you kind of looking at the May 29th candle and kind of modeling the high off of that? Because it seems like that 1430 area, since that day, every time we've been up in that area, like you could look at September, or late September, rejected in that area, 1430, went a little bit higher, but still rejected in that area. Had a breakout over that in October. And when we came down hard through it. So 1430 does look like it's potentially a level there. It may not be exactly 1430, but it's certainly within that handle.
Zach mentioning that ARB also mentioned on that robotics headline. This one hasn't moved yet. This is a good mention here, Zach. Maybe this was a little bit of a laggard that can get going. We'll see. ARBE, ARB Robotics. It is up a little bit today. Not really impressive volume.
Okay, what other, you know what? Let me see if I have a robotics watch list. I don't know if I made one or not. That's something we're going to have to put one together.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing, 13, we actually might want to separate robotics and robotic inputs into a different list. So we can, and the reason I'm saying that is because we'd like to determine if it's if something starts to move, we want to determine if it's the thing behind the thing or if it's the actual like headline item that's moving. I'm just thinking just an easier way to kind of track some of those. RR wasn't mentioned, but we mentioned that. We're all over that one. OCG getting mentioned here. This is Oriental Culture Holdings. I guess a bit terrifying.
Here we go.
Online provider of collectibles and artwork e-commerce services.
Okay, so here we go. Ticker BOTZ. This is an ETF for robotics and artificial intelligence. I'm going to look and see what's in here.
Okay. BOTZ. Okay. Mm-hmm. Components of that.
Yep. See what we get.
Crypto upside alerts are triggering. That's an interesting one. That was my mistake. That wasn't.
I like that word.
Crypto upside alerts are triggering. Easy for me to say. What does that tell you? I mean, crypto is ramping right now. Bitcoin at 93K, just shy of that. Is that indicative of a multi-day or maybe a larger move day trader? Let me know. Bull. Oh, we getting our Webull mention for the day. How's that doing? 2%. Okay. And we are above 950. All right. So Webull, we got above 950. We were talking about that being a key. Actually, we were above that yesterday. But looks like 10 now coming here on Webull.
Okay, look at this one. This is an OTC, so I'm sorry to show you something risky, but FANUF. Faloona Corp. This is this is a Japanese company. This is the third largest by weight holding of bots, and it's been having a really good past 7 days. It looks like a really good December so far. We had a breakout over 35, and it's been getting sent. Next resistance is at 44. Don't know what we're going to end up getting. Actually, there's also a trend line here. Oh, it's like Christmas came early. Let's draw a trend line there. That gives us a target to shoot for. That could take us up to 50 for FANUF. I'm going to keep looking here.
Where's the trend line?
So if you start with the high from January 2018, draw it through the high of February 2021, that's what I'm using to, and it's extended. That's what I'm using for the trend line.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's interesting.
I'm going
to keep looking here. There's some pretty interesting names on this. Also ones we know of.
I like this one because this reminds me of my favorite hockey player of all time's name, Dion Phaneuf. This is very, very close to that. So I like this.
They've also got UiPath in here. That's no. How about that? Look at UiPath. This thing is probably going to turn around soon because it's super extended, but really nice several days or week actually.
Post earnings.
Yeah. So there's that one. Let's see. Pegasus Systems.
Yeah, and Jay, Fanook, it's a big company. I prefer ABB Robots. So I actually see an advertisement for this, a humongous billboard every time I approach the Detroit airport. They have a big Fanook like advertisement right as you enter the airport grounds. That's where I've seen it before. Thank you for connecting the dots for me.
Yeah, Pegasus or Pegasystems. I keep saying Pegasus. Pegasystems, another one that's been having a good December. So some of these names inside of the bots ETF looking pretty good. Definitely worth a gander for yourself if you are looking for some stocks to trade in this this theme. They even got SoundHound in here, but that's page 2 stuff.
Page 2 stuff. I might use that in a meeting here. Someone starts saying something I'm not interested in. I might be like, page 2 stuff. I'm going to do that. That's awesome.
When I Google results and I only look at the first page and I don't bother with what's going on, you're page 2 talking right now.
That is, we're going to salt some folks up with that one. That's going to be good.
Ask Gemini if you need more help. TGL.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's take a look at TGI. I'm sorry, TGL. Sorry, Treasury Global up 21%. What's this funny thing doing today? Okay, so this is recapturing. No, you know what? Let me go to my broker. It'll be better if I do. Okay, so it's recapturing the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. We're halted now, and I would think that out of this halt, we are going to see some more upside. $26.25 is going to be that area that I think is going to provide resistance next. If you look at what happened yesterday, that is the area of support. We lost it. Now we're coming back up to it. I think it's going to act as resistance.
Okay. Good stuff there. TGL. Figma's spiking here. Not the greatest volume, but maybe a breakout for through 39 there. See how our good old friend NCPL is doing. Holding above the trend line after that bounce. IREN holding the 48-ish level. All right, day trader, you take care of yourself. Hopefully you're able to get through that meeting unscathed. I know how some of those can go. Remember the good old Bobby Knight quote, "The mind cannot learn what the posterior cannot endure." Keep it under your hat, boss. Thanks for your support.
Hey, you guys are doing some great conversation here. It's back and forth. That's fine. You guys are kind of figuring out where these the best names are, which ones are going to be good for this AI and automation theme that we're going into next year. It's great, and maybe some of this will help us figure out which ones are actually better than the others. All right, but
Tesla more highs. Boy, that's been strong all day.
There's I don't really see a whole lot going on right now. VOR is still trying to get back up over 10. What's up?
Just Joe's hilarious. The Joe in the chat, not you. Mark Sanchez took that night quote to heart.
Oh, the butt fumble. I'll never forget the butt fumble.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny about that whole thing? Did you see the news yesterday? So Daniel Jones confirmed Achilles tear.
Yeah.
Right. We saw. They bring today. The Colts are bringing in Phillip Rivers, who's 44 years old, for a workout.
I thought he was retired.
Yes, exactly, and that's why the joke came up. Well, they can't have Mark Sanchez because he had kind of a rough run in Indy.
Yeah.
So take that for whatever it's worth. They should call Tom Brady while they're at it. If they're going to call these old timers that need a cane to get on the field, you might as well call Tom Brady. He can probably still play.
Nah, he's absolutely killing it as an announcer.
I like it. I there was apparently a lot of controversy here with some of his talk from the Green Bay Chicago game. I don't know if you felt the same way.
No.
The talk about the muff and all that. But anyway, we won't get into all of that. I thought it was great.
I personally like Tony Romo better as an announcer. He's so funny. I think he's much better.
I like Romo as a person. I like that he plays golf. There's a lot to like about Tony Romo, I think. Not a huge Cowboy fan, so I don't really hold that against him.
Silver is ripping. Hell yes, brother. And I mean, I don't feel like there's anything going on right now, and it's.
I was going to say, you know what's so grand about that? First of all, Lynn here says, thanks, this is grand. Indeed. You know what's grand about there not being anything going on right now? It's time for us to go anyway. And Anne-Marie is going to bring the party here, providing I didn't insult her too much with the Kane joke there. We'll see, though. 13, any closing words for the group?
Hey, party time with Anne-Marie. Get ready, folks. She's coming on here. I'm going to take off. It's been a wonderful morning. Those trend lines, the 65 EMA, absolutely killer today. Let's see if we can get some more of those trades tomorrow. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. I'll see you later. Goodbye.
I got one for you. What do you call a Christmas wreath made of $100 bills?
Tell me.
Aretha Franklin's. All right. 13, we'll see you later. He took himself off the show there. That was something else. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's see how she's doing here. Anne-Marie, how you doing?
Oh, you're cracking me up, dude.
That's what I do.
I have to tell you, I could never be offended with anything you say. First of all, because it's super hard to offend me, but also because I really do get your sense of humor, and I find it to be most entertaining. So.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. We will start the day with positives. That's for sure. Appreciate
Let me put
that.
my cane out of view of the camera.
Now, hold on a second, Marie. Let me just defend myself here. It's different when we have experienced traders on a trading show versus a 44-year-old trying to play NFL football.
I get you. I realize
there are injuries that this person has endured that I'm sure make that difficult. But I digress. Okay. I'd love to hear what you have here today. IREN was a topic of conversation earlier, so I'd love if we can start there, which is what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Will, I have to tell you, your morning show with Adam from T3 was, boy, did it get my juices flowing, because I think about the market the same kind of way. So that's how I built the IREN setup for us today. And I did a scanner, so I've got like 3 or 4 different other suggestions as well. So we'll hammer through it. We'll take a look at this. We can see it's got a huge move. We had a consolidation space that began in, looks like about 2021 all the way through 2024 and the beginning of 2025. Moves up, and then we had this rocket upside, and it has just continued to move up. So there's a lot of price acceleration here. You know, it might be good. How long has this company been in business? Only since 2021. Okay, so it's breaking out of a range. Its IPO open was 28. It took, listen, folks, if you are a major IPO buyer, just make sure you understand that this is how most IPOs go. They fade, and then they gain traction, and then they move up. And so just for frame of reference, 8 out of 10 of them have this kind of structure. So the base of, golly, $1 was the low, $28 was the high. So let's say $27 is that range. All right. So a breakout of the range, we're going to add $27 to that. That's going to give us $55, right? And that gives us the 1-to-1 upside pressure. Another $27 would give us 78. We stopped at 77. And so you can see a measured move motion. And so now we have a couple of things. this 55 area should have held, but it did not. And so the rotation says to me, hey, it might not be out of the ordinary for us to build some sort of structure between 35 and 50 if it's going to hold traction, and if it does fade, that it revisits 28 before moving forward. So let's keep that as a backdrop. Upside says, hey, we're back to 55. Downside says, hey, we could go back to 28. And then sideways says, hey, we could sit around for the next few months chopping around this area between 35 and 50. Okay, so now that we know that backdrop, let's get after it. A lot of volume moving around in these chains. Check it out. 34,000 calls and 21,000 puts. That's a very active chain. So this was a great example. Love it that you brought it up. It did not come up on any of my screeners. And so that's fantastic. It's also got tremendous implied vol. Yes.
I will say it is very difficult to read those numbers.
Oh, sure. Let's move it all the way up. Look and feel. Let's go very large.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So let's look at it a couple of different ways. One, let's say, now I don't know what these guys do for a living. What do they do? What is their bag?
Are they a miner here? They're involved in Bitcoin, but I mixed this one up with some of the other ones because we talk about all those together. Right. No. I got it here for you. IREN, engaged in data center business powering the future of Bitcoin, AI, and beyond, utilizing renewable energy. Bitcoin mining operations generate revenue by entering Bitcoin through combination of block rewards and transaction fees from the operation of its Bitcoin miners.
Okay, it might be me, but that sounds like word salad. However, I hear some keywords: energy, I hear AI, I hear data center events. Mm-hmm. So potential upshot. I don't know what their price to book, price to earnings are, how much debt they have. The lower interest rates might help them if they can secure more debt in the long run. We're seeing an uptrend and a likely consolidation event. My thought is, hey, don't go for a January trade. The minimum should be February or more, right? So take a look at how heavy these chains are. Puts all the way here at 11, 3,000 of them. Again, more at 15, 3,500 of them. And then here at $35, 3,200 of them. So there's a lot of action here on both sides of the fence. People are betting that it comes back. People are betting that it moves forward. Look at the chains on the call side. Look at the open interest. That's a lot of open interest. Their call wall sitting in February is all the way at 90. So let's put on a cheap trade to the upside and figure out how we can make it free. Number one, February, we take the February butterfly, the 90 to 105. Why am I choosing that? It's where the chains are sitting. It's the outside shot that this thing runs to the moon based on X, Y, or Z, right? Whatever it happens to be. If there's a turn, listen, I've been reading a lot of really smart guys, and I'm going to stand with them and say the following. In order to bring down inflationary measures, we are going to see the administration continue to make backward steps in terms of how actively they force China to hold pat on these tariffs. They're going to ease them in and lower them, and it's going to make more things move up. That's one of the reasons I believe that big money is chasing these China trades up, because they are anticipating that pressure eases off, because the one thing the administration really wants to do to prove everybody wrong is win the midterm. And so that's going to have to really, there's going to have to be a change in terms of how people are spending, what people are thinking the administration is going to do, blah, 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 blah. That being said, it's going to give a potential lift to the market that we might not see. And if there's going to be a lift someplace, I think it's going to be in energy for the long haul. So,
okay, really quickly, Anne-Marie here. Edward is saying, I can never read the numbers on the option chain. I know we made it as big as possible. I will help, though. We are currently looking at the February expiry of IREN, ticker IREN, February expiry. We'll read out the strikes as we do it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to zoom. Let me do this. Zoom in. Let me just get the max here and see what we can do. All right. And so here's what we're looking at. Let's move this out so you can take a snapshot of it. This is what we're staring down. We're looking at a butterfly. We're going to buy one of the 90s, sell the 105s. We sell two of the 105s and then buy one of the 110s. Notice we've got $1,500 of upside, $5 of downside. So if this actually runs all the way to 200 because of X, Y, or Z, you're still going to have $1,000 upside in here. Very well priced options for a big fat win here. The butterfly will deliver profit no matter what. So now the next thing is, let's say it doesn't go to 90 and we've just spent $80. How can we get ourselves a credit? We go to the put side and we say, hey, let's sell the 35.30 put spread, a lot of options there, and let's collect the $116 to pay for our $80 debit. That'll give us $500 of margin. Let's say, and this is what I really loved about Adam. He was like, hey, when are people going to be pissed off at me? They're going to be pissed off if this thing runs to, however many dollars and we only made $1,500. This is a beautiful ratio spread. You sell 2 of the 25 puts. You buy 1 of the 20s. What this tells you is, hey, if it never gets down to 25, you collect $164. If it moves all the way to 20, you keep your full credit, but now you also have the obligation to buy the 25 strike, but you've already collected $164. So you're really getting it for $23.36, right? So you're getting it way on the cheap and you sold a spread. So it's the combination of both. It allows you to acquire the stock on the cheap, to hold it for a longer duration. You can also sell calls against it in the chain because the options have so much vol sitting in them, right? You're going to be able to make money no matter what. So love this setup. It's very nice and clean. Really, really like it. Good looking. All right. Any questions on that?
No, that screenshot that you just showed the group here, would you do me a huge favor and Slack that to me? Because I like this trade too. You don't have to do it right now. We can do it afterwards, but I like this one a lot. I think it's a great way to play IREN here. Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Never heard of it. Going to keep my eye on it. All right. So what I did, for those of us that are thinker swimmers, here's what I did. I did a scan on high implied vol. I wanted a minimum stock price of $20. I wanted stock volume to be at least 1 million, and I wanted the implied vol to have at least one option in the chain that gives me 140% volatility. It doesn't mean that all of them will. It just means there's at least one that's sitting up that high. And I want the open interest in the chains to be at least 1,500. That gives me all kinds of things. And look what came up on the cheapest side of this with a pretty nice vol index. And that is this XPeng. What do you know? It's a China stock. So let's take a
XPEV, China EV. We trade this one often. This is perfect.
Right? So here we are. Let's take a look at what's going on. Obviously, it's been sitting in a huge base, right? Low of $6, whatever date that was, 2022. Here it is near the top of the box. Notice, here's where it falls off the rails. What do wicks tell us? So, I was like this little learning event here. Wicks tell us when we see the top of a candle or bottom of a candle, whether it's a wick or a body, it tells us that trade action has halted at prices higher or prices lower. It tells us that demand has absolutely disappeared or supply is not there, right? So here we are. When we go lower, we go, well, nobody is letting me buy it cheaper, so that's got to be my floor. Nobody's letting me sell it higher, so that's got to be my ceiling. This gives us literally a 10-point event. Now, it's broken that trend line, but I believe the range that we want to look for is in this box, and we want to duplicate it and see what the one-to-one event is and if it matches a price action to the left. And we can see it does, right? There is something, this is a gap that is still not filled all the way to 41. So momentum says this, seasonality says this thing is a train wreck. However, we're looking at areas that are a little different. So again, how do we make a trade that says, hey, these dips are getting bought. I want to make money as it moves north. I don't want to lose money if it does nothing. And I'd like to position myself in a space that if it did more, I'd be open to whatever the chart's doing. So here we have it. For this one, and I'm going to do the snapshot again because everyone really likes that. It's easier.
Plus, you have Snagit, which makes it super easy. It automatically finds it. So Snagit's a good app.
Yeah, I like Snagit a lot. So here's what we're looking at. Not certainly activity, not as tremendous as IREN, but not shameful, really. It looks pretty good. So what we can stare down is the following. We've got almost, I'd probably say 35% more options on the call side than on the put side. So let's take a look at it. I suspect that this might have itself a little bit more downside action into January and a little more upside action into March as the administration gets a little friendlier on these Chinese tariffs. So this is my thought. So what I want to see is, are the chains telling me that? And as I go to March, these chains, look at this, almost 14,000 of them at the 25 call event. That's a lot. That's a lot. And 25 is, that's far from where we are right now, speaking mildly. Now, as we move down the chains, we can see the 30 has got 7,000. And so pretty easily you can buy the 25 30 call spread and also give yourself an opportunity from that perspective. You can, on the put side, take a look at how much is going on the put side. 10,000 at 13, 9,400. 6,000 at 17. So there's a lot of pressure here on this put side. I have no idea whether it's long puts or short puts at this juncture. I have not done analysis on the chains, but it's something to think about if you're staring down. Okay, let's say it fades and it does come back to 17, where we're seeing so much of the spread. I can buy a 17.15 put. Let me do this for us. Right? I can buy the 17.15 put spread for 25 cents. $2 to the upside, so it's $1.75. That's 7x. So 700%. If it does that, great. If you go, hey, let me just buy the 17 put in the event that I can collect some cash, and then you can go to March and say, if it moves from 17 all the way to 22, I get $300 of upside if it goes to 25, and it's literally free, plus any of the money that I would have made on that 17.15 put spread. This price action looks weak to me if I stare down the chart. So it's the one that I've said, hey, you know, the narrative could dramatically change, but that drama is probably going to need a few months to unfold. And if we look at the wick action, the seasonality action for this, it really does tell us that we don't have an upshot here until May. And so that's why I have that a little bit sideways pressure sitting there, but there's quite a bit of movement in these chains.
Real quick, Anne-Marie, I got asked earlier if where did you get that season? Someone was asking specifically about your seasonality tossed study.
Okay, so that was given to me for review by a very good builder of indicators.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've been doing for the last 6 months is really evaluating it. I wish I could say, hey, ready to share it with the world, but simply not. When that comes to pass, we will look at it. It's the magnitude is something that I get concerned about, but very interestingly, the numbers are spot on with TradeWave. And
okay, so it's using the right data. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I got that on there. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. All right, last one in the mix. We have time for that? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
New scale power. Yes, she's got another power thing. Good grief. Listen, it's going to matter for data centers. I know you and 13 were talking about solar. We're going to try to grab power from anywhere we can except wind. Wind is the only place you can just open the rubbish bin and throw it all in, because the footprint, the carbon footprint to bring wind power to market is freaking atrocious.
Yeah.
So sorry, but
and the birds, it kills all the birds.
Man, if that guy, every time I watch that guy, he makes me laugh.
Me too.
He absolutely loves grinding people's gears.
Yeah.
It is a pastime of his. It is, and if you can't take it and you watch people's gears grind up, you just can't help but laugh. But anyway.
It turns out when you have 70 years of practice doing it, you're quite adept at it.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So we're going to look at new scale. Imagine, I think to myself, when I find these, I go, daggone it, if only I'd seen this at $1 and stuck it in someplace. I have got to figure out how to blend the Tim Melvin superpower with just a little bit more risk. for these way out, look off in the horizon and say, what if, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get those.
Well, you did that with Rigetti. Didn't you add that at like 20 cents or something?
It was not Rigetti, it's QBTS.
QBTS, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's the one that I've had, forever. So, okay. But see, that's a fluke, dude. if I only have one of them in all of my portfolios, yeah, that's a fluke. So I'd like to get better at it. So here we are. This one certainly on an updraft. Really big vol swings. So let's figure out, again, we want to figure out the magnitude of the range of the base, right? In terms of, hey, how big was this? So it moved from, let's just say $2 to $16. So it's a $14 range, right? So if we go 15 and some change and we go, that's 29, right? So we duplicate it. We want to see the magnitude of motion and see if it matches. Shocking. I know you guys have never seen this before. So it does. It comes right into the magnitude of event, comes down into the original box, and then rotates again. Let's see if the magnitude is still holding, the magnitude of motion. Very big here. Let me do it one more time and see what. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Right to the top of the damn
goodness.
candle.
Just 50 cents, right? So here's the takeaway. Folks, you can do this yourself for anything that interests you. The magnitude of time that it sits in a range is going to be duplicated because we traders, we're simpletons. We're like, okay, let's just see if it goes up twice. And if it does, then we keep doing what works. So look at what's happening though. It's come right back in to the box after the first move up. And now it's had the fourth move up. And now it's all the way back to that first move up. It's got to hold here, but it should. Look at the momentum event. That seasonality looks very sweet. So we've got earnings in March. Big spike, going to be a little bit messy. So your goal is buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip if you're positioning for an upward rotation event. So how can you do that? First thing you want to do, in my mind, let's take a look at the stat. Look at this. 13,000 calls, 5,000 puts, right? More than 2 to 1 in the ratio event. So people are pretty bullish on this. How do we want to play it? Well, going back to the chart, the expectation is if I hang out here at this box, I should get to the top of the old box. And I should stall out somewhere in the middle of this third box at this 35, 36 area before hightailing it all the way back up to those big levels, right? And so that's likely for what we want to see. Two things we can do. We can sell the put, $3 for the March put, $2.96 for the night. I mean, that is so cheap. It's absolutely fantastic. Next thing you could do, also bullish, 30 to 35 gives you an 85-cent credit. Now, that's a back ratio. I'm going to take a snapshot of it, not to fret. But if we go to March and we give it room to run, if you are generally saying to yourself, hey, I don't want to do all your fancy pants, whatever. Let's just give me a spread or give me an option. If you want to buy the 25, the break-even price will be 28. You know, I like to use other people's money, so I'm going to do a spread. That's going to be 122 for the 25-30 call spread in general. Now, you can't do both the back ratio and the vertical because they both have the same 30 strike, and this one is against it. So you could also do a 25 Where's the next one? Not a lot there, but there's a lot of the vol here is 10% higher. And so you could do the 25-35 call spread for $1.90 all the way in March. Pretty cheap, $10 upside. And then, of course, the easy way is say to yourself, hey, what if this comes into my floor? Double checking on that floor is 15. What if it comes into my floor? Why not sell a 15 put, right? You could sell the 19 put, but selling the 15 put, also easy way to pay for your expenditure, right? All of these positions, if you remove the back ratio, this will have, if you did both put sells, it would use $1,000 of margin, and you've got tons of upside pressure if it goes in your direction. And if you just want to get put to the stock, you know, if you are holding this for the long haul, just sell the 20 and see if they come in, and it gives you this. You hold it for less than $17, and then you can sell a call against it. If it comes in, you can go, okay, well, I'm just going to sell the 22 or 25 call, and the vol chains are so juicy that it'll easily bring your cost basis way down.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff here, Anne-Marie. Thanks again. And we're enjoying your vacation, right? We're not going to have you here for a while. So you closed it out with a bang.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. It'll be
well,
fun. I'll send pictures.
Yeah, definitely. Because here's one thing. I thought that you were getting on here and you were just intentionally trying to tease me here. This background that you have looks like my effing dream. This looks like you're at some outdoor kitchen in Montana overlooking this unbelievable vista. All you need there is a bottle of red wine and a hoodie, and we're good to go. This is literally what I am trying to work my life to achieve there. And you said it as a background. In Blue Ridge Mountains?
Blue Ridge Mountains, yes. This is Sevierville, Tennessee.
Okay, so Tennessee might be another place to take a look at. It looks awesome. Anne-Marie, you are awesome. Have a great trip. We'll catch up with you when we have plans when you get back. And in the meantime, keep those pictures coming. Definitely send me that screenshot for the trade there. I'm going to look like I'm going to put that on. Okay. Anne-Marie, thank you. You're the best.
You are.
All right. I guess we're going to listen to her, right? All right. That does it for us here today, folks. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for the support and the ideas and the idea generation here. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see